Don't miss the awesome Naruto stories my sister creates. Her last channel was hacked, so to stay in the loop, please subscribe to her new channel. It would mean a lot to her, and you won't regret it. Hello to all lovers of lemon scenes. I invite you all to my boosty so you can watch your favorite Naruto What If stories in complete comfort. A subscription to Naruto Lemon, the first video with a full lemon, is already on my boosty channel. Dare! Everything goes according to canon until the masked man appears. The masked man grabbed the child and pressed the kunai to the baby's throat. "Calm down, what do you need?" asked Minato. "I'm completely calm, fourth. Get away from the Jinchuriki or your son will die before he even lives 5 minutes," said the masked man and threw the baby, and put a kunai under him. Minato was not awarded the title of Yellow Lightning of Konoha for his beautiful eyes. He reacted and carried the baby home with the help of the Flight of the Thunder God and put him to bed. Then he teleported to Kushina, but the Kyuubi had already been pulled out of her and subdued with the Sharingan. The fox began to destroy Konoha on the orders of the masked man. Then everything is according to the canon until sealing. Minato removed the genjutsu from the fox. At that moment he was already pushed outside the village. Minato realized that the fox needed to be sealed, teleporting home and taking his wife and son. Summoning the altar of 8 elements, after which he began to fold the seals. But he was stopped by the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and he himself called Shinigami. Sealing the fox, he went limp and fell dead, until metamorphoses began to occur with Naruto. Kushina managed to put mental protection on the child and left her chakra in the seal in order to help her son in a difficult moment and passed out. After Kushina passed out, Naruto's hair instantly turned red-black, and his eyes also changed color from blue to bright red. And our great Yondaimyo Hokage, roughly speaking, crap and handed his son over to an orphanage, and told his wife that he died after being sealed. Commentary on Prologue. Well, let me start working. Guys, I hope you appreciate it. I'm writing fanfic at my sister's request. The idea is my own, but the implementation is mine. Also, this is my first FF. Guys, I've been on the site not long ago. Explain what beta and gamma are. Almost 4 years have already passed since the fox attacked Konoha. A boy with black and red hair walks down the street from the library to the shelter. Naruto, that was the boy's name, walked along the main street. Passers-by cast hateful glances at him. They beat him almost every day. They tried to kill him. But the most terrible day for him was October 10th, the day he was born, the day of the victory over the fox and the day of the death of the Hokage's living son. Our boy had almost reached the orphanage, but he was not destined to do so today. Since it was already evening and some of the Chunin and Jonin were already drinking after their missions. And what did they want to do? Of course, beat the demon for the death of the Hokage's son and the death of his loved ones. Look, this is a demon. Let's take revenge. One of the Jounins barely said. Yes, come on. 2 Chunin and 1 more Jounin answered. And so little Naruto began to run away from them, but what can a little boy do against 4, albeit drunk, but still shinobi? Nothing. They caught up with him in a dark alley and began to beat him. The first blow is in the stomach, in the solar plexus area. After the blow, Naruto bent over, and after the knee strike, a slashing blow came from above and down to the head. Naruto, although he received a very strong blow to the head, was still conscious. After being beaten with punches and kicks, the shinobi got tired of it. One of them took a kunai and first hit him in the stomach with it, and then decided to test his accuracy and, moving away, began to aim at the shoulder, but due to his intoxication he hit the heart area. Naruto lost consciousness from the shock of pain. The shinobi decided that he had died. They took him and threw him into the river. POV unknown. I saw a boy of about 4 years old unconscious floating along the river and decided to help him. After I pulled the young man out of the very cold water, I decided to take him to my house. Several days passed and the boy began to come to his senses. Well, let's get to know each other, young man, thought the unknown man. End POV. While Naruto was unconscious, he entered his hospitable subconscious. POV Naruto. I woke up in some place that looked like a sewer. There were gray, cracked walls around, on the ceiling there were pipes of the same color, from which drops were dripping directly onto the floor, echoing throughout the entire room, and water that was flooded all over the floor, reached the middle of my shin. Apparently after the beating, they threw me into some kind of sewer. Although it's strange that it doesn't stink in here. Then where am I? Uzumaki thought while standing in the water. Later, Naruto felt a pleasant warmth emanating from somewhere ahead. And he decided to go there. Walking towards the warmth, the young man came out into a huge hall with some kind of golden cage, behind which there was impenetrable darkness, and on the gate there was a sheet with the kanji seal, "Is anyone here?" The boy asked into the void. Two huge red eyes with a cat's pupil appeared from the void. "Oh, this is what my jailer looks like from behind the cage," a loud, bass voice that lived to the bone and evoked animal horror. Who are you?" the young man asked with some fear. I am the great and powerful nine-tailed demon fox, Kyubi no Yoko." The fox said with a growl, "Is it a fox?" dispersing the darkness behind the cage, thereby revealing himself to the person standing in front of him, and there was something to see. A red fox of gigantic proportions, with long arms with huge, white, sharp claws, yes, just arms, it didn't look like paws. And his jaw spread into a grin, showing the world fangs that were sharper than any sword, and the most attractive and bewitching were 9 long, fluffy tails that moved as if they lived their own lives. "I'm sure these tails are very soft," a thought flashed through little Naruto's head. "I am Naruto Uzumaki. Where are we?" the boy said without fear. "We are in your subconscious. Aren't you afraid of me?" the fox answered, still growling. "No. Why should I be afraid of you? In the books you are described as universal evil, a product of pure hatred. But it seems to me that this is wrong. You can think, which means people themselves made you evil. And since this is my subconscious," said our young man and sat down in the lotus position. At this time, the fox was trying to recover from the shock after the boy's speech, but as soon as he began to recover from the first shock, a new one overtook him. Naruto changed the sewer into a huge clearing, in the center of which there was a huge tree, to the left of which there was a huge lake, and instead of a cage, the fox found himself in a collar with a chain that was tied to the tree. "Well, it will be better. But I didn't imagine the lake." "Kyubi, where is it from and maybe you can tell me your name?" asked Naruto. "The lake, or rather the amount of water in it, is the amount of your chakra, and the depth is the density. Why do you need to know my name?" Kyubi answered the questions posed and asked his own. He asked it, Smetanka too. I still didn't understand what this word was. Makhmet, D and F are located next to each other on the phone, because he had an assumption that this kid was the one he was talking about, said the father, Rikudo. "I see, but I want to know your name because I want to make friends with you," Naruto said. "Kurama. My name is Kurama. And as for friendship, you can try. Just tear off a small fragment from the seal so that we can have a mental connection. Just don't dare break the seal, you'll die right away," Kurama answered Naruto. Naruto tore a small piece from the corner of the seal without question. And then he asked Kurama, "How can I get out of the subconscious?" "Just think about it," said the fox. Naruto came out of his subconscious and saw a white ceiling. End POV Naruto. "Hello boy," said the stranger. "Hello, who are you?" Naruto asked. Well, let's move away from the story of our hero and talk about his family. You probably think that everything is fine with them, that Kushina, having grieved a little, gave birth to another child for Minato and is raising him, giving him all her maternal love and care, and Minato is a worthy father, that he devotes a lot of time to his family, and how the Kage watches over order in the village and the well-being of the residents. This is partly true, but not everything is so rosy. Kushina actually became pregnant with her second son, a little less than 6 months after the death of her firstborn, who was named Menma, but she did not get to spend much time with him. About 5 to 6 months into her pregnancy, a terrible disease awakened, which destroys her hearth and chakra circulation system, killing her slowly and painfully, and the extraction of the bijou only accelerated this process. Why did they only find out about it now? It's simple. Previously Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi, his chakra could not cure her, but it was quite possible to suppress the disease and make sure that she could live without worrying about anything. Her pedigree also played a significant role, like it or not, but if you are the great-granddaughter of Hashirama Senju himself, who had simply incredible regeneration, then it will manifest itself in you, although it is very weak compared to your ancestor. You may ask why the disease only manifested itself almost a year after the bijou was removed. Kushina is not the first year of being a Jinchuriki. More than once she lost her temper, got angry, was in a deadly situation, which caused the bijou to use chakra, so the Kyubi chakra that remained in the red-haired body was enough to give life to a child and spend a year of his life with him. Kushina loved Menma, but she loved her first son many times more. But she tried to become a good mother, at least for him, but fate had its own thoughts on this matter. Soon Kushina was admitted to the hospital, so she could not be with her son for long. In order to cure Kushina, or at least prolong her life, Tsunade Senju became her attending physician. The slug princess simply could not leave her relative and former student. Tsunade spends all her strength to cure the red-haired girl, but to no avail. As for Minato? So, after the incident with the bijou attack on Konoha, he became very cold towards his wife, and after they found out about her illness, he seemed to have forgotten about her existence. He had not been very warm towards Kushina before, but she blamed it first on the war, where he lost his students, then fatigue at work as Hokage, and the current attitude towards the loss of his son and the guilt that he could not protect his home, village and family, but everything was wrong. After that ill-fated day, Minato devoted himself completely to the work of Hokage. He lost the former trust of people and their confidence that the fourth would be able to protect them in the event of an attack or other unforeseen circumstances. Therefore, in order to somehow return to the former situation, he himself helped with the reconstruction of houses destroyed by the fox. He was busy raising the economy, improving people's lives, raising wages and living standards. He also improved relations with the clans, especially with the Uchiha clan, the head of which was often seen in the Hokage residence. He also changed the education system at the Shinobi Academy. Now you could enter the academy as before at 8, but graduate only at 14 to 15 years old. Now, before release, a genin must perform not only simple techniques, such as henge, kawarimi and illusionary clones, but also any DC-class elemental technique. A genin must also have chakra control at the level of walking on vertical surfaces. Yellow Lightning did not stop at internal politics. Thanks to him he was able to sign a peace and trade agreement with such trees as the hidden village in the cloud, sand and fog. Minato also did not deprive his son of attention. He, of course, left him with nannies when he was at work, but after work and on weekends he completely devoted himself to his son. Minato himself taught Menma to walk, talk, and he himself planned to teach him to read and write, and after he awakened the chakra source, begin training him in order to raise a worthy replacement for himself. And Menma grew up a copy of his father and copied his behavior constantly, even his attitude towards his own mother. And it's not to say that he loved her, the baby spent too little time with Kushina to love her. When Menma and Minato came to Kushina, little Namikaze could not understand why waste time on a man who would soon die. if it could be spent on more useful things, like training or spending time with his father, in whom he doted on. Over time, he even began to hate Kushina. He was told about the fearless, firm, strong, brave, unbending, bloody habanero, but he saw only a weak, sluggish, poor shadow of the image that he built and about which he was told. One of the few who did not abandon Kushina was her former teammate and best friend Mikoto Uchiha. They had been friends since the academy. Then Mikoto was the first to start a conversation with Kushina. She did not understand why the red-haired girl was so disliked. The Uchiha saw in her only a lonely girl. Afterwards, their acquaintance grew into a very strong friendship. Their connection was so strong that they considered each other sisters, and over time their connection only grew stronger. They went through many trials together, the first missions in Team Number 3, becoming Chunin, and then Jonin, the death of a comrade, and the Third Shinobi World War, in which they fought back-to-back. Also the attack of the fox and the loss of Kushina's first son. Therefore, seeing the state of her best friend, Mikoto simply could not turn away from her. It was with her help that Kushina had not yet broken down and continued to be that same terrifying, bloody habanero, for which Kushina was very grateful to her. Although a recently born son and caring for the house took a lot of energy, despite this, the Uchiha was in her little sister's room every day. "I am Ashina Uzumaki, or the first Yuzukage of the hidden whirlpool village," said an old man with long gray hair and a mustache that reached approximately to his chest, in blue armor, like Madara. On his feet were gray ANBU pants, wrapped with bandages in the shin area, and he was wearing standard blue shinobi sandals. He was 167 to 170 centimeters tall. He looked 75 to 80 years old and had 2 katanas on his back. "Naruto, I see, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. I just have a question for you. How did you survive? Because the village of the hidden whirlpool was destroyed during the Second Shinobi World War. And according to the books I read, it was said that the first Yuzukage was killed when he fought with more than 1,000 enemy shinobi." Introduced himself, and then asked Naruto a question. "I survived thanks to my eyes," Ashina said, putting chakra into his eyes. "This is the greatest dojutsu, Yuzugen. It is stronger than the Sharingan, Byakugan and Rinnegan combined. He has all the abilities of the Mangekyo Sharingan, as well as all the paths of the Rinnegan. In addition, he has 2 individual abilities. For me this is resurrection 5 years after death, and the second is to see the future." Told about Ashina's eyes. Wow. The only thing that Naruto could squeeze out of himself. "Naruto, who are your parents? And why were you beaten when I found you?" asked the old man. "I am an orphan. As I was told, they died during an attack by a fox who was sealed inside me. He is my only friend. And everyone beat me because the Kyuubi was sealed in me." Naruto answered all the questions. "Naruto, don't you want me to train you? After all, you and I are from the same clan." Ashina asked, and at that moment he thought, I have to help my great-grandson, and if he has no idea who his parents are, then Kushina most likely does not know that he is alive. After all, I saw how my granddaughter was stroking her belly and talking to him. At these moments there was such a bright and happy smile on her face. It seemed that even the sun was not as bright as her, and I didn't raise her like that. From which we conclude, Minato threw him away like an unnecessary toy. What a bastard. Although maybe the elders and Danzo are involved in this. Oh. This ghoul just sees how to get his hands on a Jinchuriki in order to make it into an ideal weapon. Ugh on him, he just ruined the mood. The main thing is that Neru doesn't see it. Of course I agree to train with you, Ashina-san, the happy red-haired man responded to the proposal, because finally he will be able to become stronger in order to protect his newfound friend. At this time, Kurama, hearing the thoughts of her Jinchuriki, blushed, but because of her fur, it was not visible. Great, Naruto. We will travel and train for 10 years, and when you turn 14, we will return to Konoha. Ashina said calmly. Okay, what are we going to do for these 10 years? The young man asked a completely logical question. The first year, physical training and meditation, the second and third, taijutsu, bukenjutsu and kenjutsu, the fourth and fifth, ninjutsu, the sixth and seventh, fuinjutsu. For the last 3 years we will hone what we have learned, and if you awaken eyes like mine, then we will work on them too. Now Naruto-kun, go rest. Tomorrow the training will begin until you lose consciousness. We'll wake up at 5 a.m. The old man told his plans for the future. Okay, Ashina-san. Naruto said and returned to bed. Morning came. Naruto is still sleeping, but he doesn't have long to lounge in bed. Naruto, get up. Ashina shouted, to which Naruto only turned over on his other side. Is that what it means? It's okay, now you'll wake up in an instant, Ashina muttered and used a water projectile, but in order not to harm Naruto, he dispelled the technique right over Naruto, and all the water poured out on the guy. He instantly jumped out of bed. Well, you woke up, run to breakfast, and then to training. Okay, Ashina-san, Naruto said and rushed to the kitchen. After breakfast, he and the old man went to the training ground. Having reached the training ground, Ashina began to give instructions. -5 circles around the training ground, 25 push-ups, squats and 30 for the press and 10 minutes of planks, as well as a maximum of pull-ups. So, 5 approaches each. Ashina finished explaining. Hi. Naruto said and began to perform. About 6 hours passed and only now Naruto finished. After he finished training, he fell exhausted, but was still conscious. Well done, Naruto, Ashina said with a slight smile, because he didn't expect Naruto to cope so soon. Thank you, Naruto said, already taking a sitting position. Now let's go to the house for dinner, then rest for 2 hours and go back to training. Okay, Ashina-sensei, the young man said, and they went to the house, where they actually had lunch, and after resting again, they went to training. Having reached the training ground, Naruto now sit in the lotus position and try to feel the chakra. You need to feel how an uncontrolled flame flares up in the form of a spiral in the abdominal area, and then direct it through the tubes, or vessels, as convenient, in the body. This is called the chakra circulation system. It is somewhat reminiscent of the bloodstream. After Ashina's short monologue, Naruto began to carry out the order. In general, he sat in this position for about 2 hours and finally felt chakra. Hooray! I felt. Naruto shouted to the entire training ground, but Ashina was pleasantly surprised. Some need months, some weeks, geniuses days, but here it's only, just 2 hours, thought Ashina. Now sit down, try to speed up the flow of chakra, or just drive chakra back and forth. Ashina gave the task to Naruto. 4 hours later Naruto was still pumping chakra, but there was a limit to everything. And then Naruto simply lost consciousness. Ashina took him into the house. A year passed in such training. Naruto's success. The amount of chakra is 2 times more than Kakashi's. Physical training, 70 circles around the training ground. 300 push-ups and 400 sit-ups for abs. 200 pull-ups. All this with weights of 30 kilograms on the legs and 20 kilograms on the arms. Crimped 100 kilograms. A year has passed since Naruto began training. And now Ashina, as he said, will begin to teach him taijutsu, bukenjutsu and kenjutsu. After breakfast, Ashina told Naruto that new training would begin. Naruto was certainly happy with this outcome. And when he arrived at the training ground, Naruto did a warm-up. After the warm-up, the conversation began. Naruto, now, in order not to waste time on meditation, I will teach you a technique, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, shadow clones, said Ashina. Okay, but for what? The red-haired man asked a logical question. I'll say this. This technique was invented by the second Hokage. Its purpose was initially to collect information, because after dispelling, the information and experience that the clone received are transferred to the original. But it was classified as forbidden. It was given the status forbidden, since after its use people could die from an overabundance of information and chakra depletion. Said Ashina. Now I understand. That is, when a clone, say, meditates and expands the chakra channels, will this be transmitted to me? Naruto concluded his guess. That's right. Well done, Naruto, Ashina said and showed the seal for the technique. After that, there were already 4 Ashinas standing opposite Naruto. So, to perform the technique, you need to make a horse seal, then evenly distribute the chakra between the clones, while imagining how they take on your form. I understand, and Naruto began to try to create a clone. For the first time I got a semi-living clone. The second one is more or less normal. On the third try, a perfect clone emerged. Well done. Now try to create 4 clones. Said Ashina. Naruto, as if nothing had happened, created 4 clones. Okay, now let 2 go to meditate, the other 2 go to rest. This way you won't pass out from the fatigue you get from the clones. Will you come with me to taijutsu training? So, Naruto, our clan has its own styles of taijutsu. The first is the most ordinary strikes at certain points. The second one is with Kongo Fuso chains. The third is with the storm or flame genome. And, anticipating your question, we will study the first style, and if you have a genome or the chains awaken, then we will move on to another. Said Ashina. Hi. Naruto answered briefly. After 3 hours of difficult training. Now, Naruto, we will learn Kenjutsu. Said Ashina. Hi. 2 hours passed. Ashina noticed that Naruto was not doing anything. Naruto, what is it? Is there something you don't understand? Asked Ashina. No, everything is clear. I feel uncomfortable. When I hold the wakizashi, it feels like my other arm has been cut off. Naruto said a little upset. Okay, try with 2 wakizashi. If it's more convenient for you, I'll teach you my 2-sword style. The old man said after thinking a little. About 3 hours passed and success was obvious. Naruto calmly held and honed his wakizashi strikes. Ashina was no longer surprised at Naruto's progress and how quickly he was able to do it. Another 2 years passed in training. Characteristics of Naruto. Amount of chakra, 4 times more Kakashi. Physical training 170 circles around the training ground, 400 push-ups and squats, 600 for the abs. 300 pull-ups, 3 approaches, Smatenka 2, I decided to add my own approaches. All this with weights of 60 kilograms on the legs and 40 kilograms on the arms. In total 200 kilograms. These are Fuin weights. Control, Iraianin B rank. Taijutsu, intermediate Chunin level, without the weights of a weak Jonin. Bukinjutsu, a la throw, anything sharp right in the bull's eye, although Itachi is still a long way from it. Kenjutsu, average Jonin. Naruto stands with Ashina at the training ground. Naruto had already done his warm-up. Naruto, do you remember what kind of training we're going to start today? Asked Ashina, who had already become not only a sensei for Naruto, but also a grandfather. Yes. Ninjutsu training begins today. But first you need to know the elements. Said our red-haired one. Right. Here, hold the leaf and pass chakra through it. The old man explained. Naruto took the paper. He pressed it between his index finger and thumb, passing the chakra along the way. And then the most interesting thing happened. The leaf split into 3 parts, one flared up with a scarlet flame, the second curled up and became wet. And the last one caught fire, crumpled and got wet. Grandfather, what does this mean? Asked the surprised guy. Naruto, this is simply amazing. You have 4 elements: fire, water, air and lightning. So not enough of this, 2 more Kiki-Eigenkai, flame and storm. And the expanded genome of the Scarlet Storm, or otherwise the Fiery Storm. Ashina said at first excitedly. And then calmly, but his facial expressions betrayed his shock and some disbelief at what he saw. Wow, what are we going to study first? Naruto asked, no less turned on. First the basic techniques, then the spontaneous ones, then the genomes and at the very end the extended genome. We will also study taijutsu with genomes. It's clear, in general we will go progressively. Naruto affirmed rather than asked. Exactly. Now create 50 clones. 10 for rest. 10 for meditation. 10 for practicing kenjutsu. 10 for taijutsu. The others will learn basic techniques with you. The training went very well. Naruto learned substitution, henge and learned to hide chakra. Not only Ashina, but also Kurama helped in training with ninjutsu. Kurama shared chakra and showed Madara's techniques in the subconscious. So 2 years passed. Naruto learned many different elemental and genomic techniques. He learned to pass through wakizashi not only elemental chakra, but also chakra of any genome. He also completely perfected all the learned techniques, that is, he learned to use them with 2 to 3 seals. Learned to use one-handed seals. He also asked Ashina to put a chakra collection seal, which collects excess chakra and accumulates it at a certain point. Now, in an unforeseen situation, when Naruto's own supply runs out, he will be able to replenish it with the chakra accumulated over all this time. Now let's move on to the list of his fire techniques. Fireball, Great Fireball, Phoenix Flowers. Skull Crushing, the user creates a small fireball, which in the blink of an eye transforms into a gigantic stream of moving fire, which, upon contact with the surface of the earth, can cause extensive destruction. Greater Fire Destruction, the user exhales a huge wall of fire, covering a large area with it. Fire Dragon, Song of Fire Dragons. Great Fire Rain Technique, the user breathes out multiple giant fireballs. Mass Fire Destruction, the user exhales a long stream of fire, covering a large area with it. Lightning. Punishment of thunder and lightning, clouds gather over the enemy and lightning strikes. Electromagnetic Kill, this technique allows the user to create a wave of electricity using their hands. The strength of the technique depends on the chakra invested. Electricity Stream Technique, the user slams their palm onto the surface of the ground and produces a stream of lightning that rushes towards the opponent. Pitch Darkness Technique is a lightning elemental technique in which the user releases a powerful electrical charge that strikes the enemy. The strength of the charge depends on the amount of chakra put into it. Lightning Technique, by placing several seals, the user creates an electrical discharge and shoots it out like a beam. Lightning Clone. Water. Water Fang, strong pressure of water, a stream is directed towards the enemy. Water Dragon, Water Whips, Water Core. Water Cutter, an arcing stream of water is released from Naruto's mouth under enormous pressure, capable of cutting through steel. Wind. Great Gust, a huge stream of air is created, the power of the technique depends on the chakra invested. Divine Wind Technique, creates several tornadoes of wind that can be directed in any direction and form them into a hurricane. Vacuum Sword Technique, sends out a huge amount of cutting wind currents, reminiscent of a large axe. Vacuum Blade Technique, the user imbues a bladed weapon with wind release chakra, improving its parameters. Vacuum Bullets. Air Push. Flame. Chain Reaction, Naruto creates multiple fist-sized fireballs around his opponent. If one ball explodes when touched or desired by the user, it will cause other projectiles to explode. The number of balls and the force of the explosion depend on the invested chakra. Flame Arrow, Naruto exhales an arrow-shaped stream of flame that can penetrate from a couple of trees to a mountain, depending on the amount of chakra used while creating the technique. Rising of the soaring phoenix, Naruto sprouts eagle wings made entirely of flames from his back. Pillar of divine flame, in a certain place, a huge column of flame rises up, incinerating everything in the radius of destruction. The scale of the technique depends on the chakra used. Storm. Laser beams. Storm dragon, storm clone. Storm cloud, creates a cloud for group movement. The birth of a hypernova is a technique in which Naruto concentrates a huge amount of storm chakra, giving it the shape of a ball. After creating the sphere, he must launch it so as not to get caught in a huge explosion and lightning that fly out during the technique. Remember the last collision of Indra's arrow and Ultra, the giant Rasen shuriken of the 6 paths, and what came after? Something like this one, only the scale is much smaller. The strength of the technique depends on the chakra invested. Fire storm. Storm dragon breathing fire and lightning, strike of scarlet lightning, breath of the thunder god. Naruto exhales a huge wall of scarlet lightning. Cover of the scarlet god of thunder. Well, according to the standard. Characteristics of Naruto. Amount of chakra, 3 times less than Hashirama, plus the seal, storage, is the same. By the way, in the canon, old Naruto has 2 times less than Hashirama, Smetanka 2, no, Naruto has more. In terms of chakra he is number 1, he has so much of it that even the author doesn't know how much, and this is only in the database. Physical training: 270 circles around the training ground, 800 push-ups and squats, 1200 abdominal exercises, 600 pull-ups, 5 approaches each. This is with weights of 120 kilograms on the legs and 80 kilograms on the arms. In compression 400 kilograms. These are few in weights. Control, Irionin A rank. Taijutsu, intermediate Jonin level, without weights, elite Jonin. Bukinjutsu, a Lakinu, anything sharp right in the bull's eye, almost Itachi beaming face with smiling eyes. Kenjutsu, elite Jonin, 2 katanas decide. Zoro, you kicked, or it seemed to me. Naruto and Ashina were sitting at the table eating breakfast, but this idyll was interrupted by the eldest of them. Naruto, from today perhaps the most difficult training will begin for you, said Ashina. Grandfather, why is this? Asked Naruto, who had not yet realized. I'll just say one word, Fuinjutsu. And you will understand why the most difficult ones in the process. The old man answered with some kind of sadistic grin. Naruto clearly shuddered at that grin. They've already had breakfast. The younger sent the clones to train in ninjutsu, taijutsu and kenjutsu, as well as to expand the chakra channels and strengthen the work of the hearth itself. The original itself and 100 more clones stood in another part of the training ground along with the old man. Naruto, now we will dive into your subconscious, or more precisely, into your soul. I'll tell you right away. An Uzumaki's soul is different from the soul of another person, be he from any clan. The soul will look like a labyrinth, and the more intricate and complex the labyrinth, the easier Fuinjutsu will be, said Ashina. Okay, grandfather, said Naruto. They delved into Naruto's soul. As Ashina said, there was a labyrinth there, but it was incredibly large, although rather huge, and in the very center of the labyrinth there was a large city of 2 colors, scarlet, red and blue. In the center of the city itself there was a tower of 18 floors, the tower itself was black. To say that they were surprised is an understatement. Everything is clear with Naruto, this is the first time he has seen this. But Ashina was shocked by something else. According to legends, only the sage of 6 paths had such a city in his soul. And if you develop it, you can get immortality. Immortality is not like that of a Heiden. That is, you can be killed, but only by cutting off your head. But a completely different creature knew how to develop it, which we will learn in the following chapters. Then they went to look for the library of the soul, for those who did not understand, human memory and knowledge are inherited. Having found it, both were shocked by the disorder in it. What kind of mess? Everything needs to be put on shelves. The young man said with confidence and some anger. What, but Ashina was able to instill ambition and order in his grandson. That's right, Naruto. But I'll probably explain why this is necessary. If you put everything in its place and rearrange this place so that all new knowledge, experience and skills, as well as memory, appear in their place, then you will be able to develop your memory to the maximum. You will be able to remember the smallest detail from any moment of your life. Smetanka, this would not hurt me for exams. But you have to do this yourself. The old man finished his mini lecture. Naruto began to put everything back in its place. Since he had both extensive knowledge about the world, countries, the abilities of all the rulers of different villages, and also had impressive abilities and skills, he also knew a lot about laws, habits, behavior, etiquette and the rule of the village, no matter how with a ruler, let in a destroyed but powerful village, of both the Uzumaki clan and other clans and countries. The entire cleaning up process took no less than a month and a half. And all because Naruto could not use clones in his soul. During these 1.5 months, the clones were already able to put up barriers and seals of D and C rank. And now Naruto finished with all this, all that was left was to set up this place. Oh, and he suffered with this. In general, another month has passed. The clones learned to put up some barriers and B-rank seals. Digression. Guys, what should I describe in Fuin training? How did he draw the clumsy lines at the beginning? Or how you received it from Ashina for a bad seal? As far as I'm concerned, this is nonsense. Let's fast forward a little. End of the retreat. Fuin training is already ending. During this time, Naruto improved quite a bit and the word Fuin was very easy for him. Let's move on to Fuinjutsu skills, any barriers and seals of SSS plus rank. The ability to draw stamps anywhere and however you want. Including sending an almost invisible seal to the enemy in the air. He can put blood seals, those seals that can only be removed with the blood of the one who put the seal. These are the SS plus or minus SSS plus seals. He also came up with his own barrier of 3 protections, checks the person being passed by, chakra, DNA and intentions from this person. And that's the end of Fuinjutsu training. Why? Because Naruto passed Ashino's test for Fuinjutsu Master SSS plus rank, which is the highest rank of Fuin. Now a weaned Naruto was ready to get rid of the cage that was holding his friend back. And then Naruto breaks the Shinigami seal and everything begins to shine with white light. 3 silhouettes appeared from this piercing light. The intrigue is most likely new, but write down your guesses about who appeared there. One is obvious. And now to the stats. Amount of chakra, 3 times more than Hashirama and plus in the seal. Storage, 2 of his reserves. Physical training 270 circles around the training ground, 800 push-ups and squats, 1200 for the press. 600 pull-ups, 5 sets. All this with weights of 220 kilograms on the legs and 180 kilograms on the arms. In total 800 kilograms. These are Fuin weights. Control, Irionin S plus rank. Taijutsu, Elite Jonin, without weights, Might Guy. Bukinjutsu, a throw, anything sharp right in the bull's eye, Yay. Finally Itachi's level. Kenjutsu, Kage, 2 katanas decide. Smetanka, you definitely need to be introduced to Zoro. Ninjutsu, Kage. Fuinjutsu, Master SSS plus rank. Here Naruto breaks the Shinigami seal and everything begins to shine with white light. 3 silhouettes appeared from this piercing light. At this moment, Naruto is speechless because 3 girls of unearthly beauty are standing in front of him. He looked at them for several minutes with wide eyes and open mouth. But one black-haired girl couldn't stand this silence and decided to start the conversation first. "Hey little fox, have you never seen a girl before?" she said with a malicious smile. "I think it's worth describing it. A very beautiful, slender and busty girl of average height. She has dark skin, golden eyes, and black hair. Her hair is waist-length and worn in a ponytail with chin-length bangs framing either side of her face. Her outfit consists of a sleeveless black undershirt, an orange jacket with 2 white belts on each shoulder, a large beige belt around her waist, and black stretch pants with a pair of light brown shoes." "I saw, of course," Naruto muttered with some kind of fleeting resentment. "But there's never such a beautiful time in life," the red-haired man will say with some trepidation, which caused different reactions from the girls. The black-haired woman crossed her arms under her chest, smiled coquettishly and took a relaxed pose. With all her appearance she showed that this is how it should be and that for her this is the norm, but inside she was grateful and a little embarrassed, because such compliments were very very rarely given to her, if at all. Never did, but she is a girl and also wants to caress her ears with pleasant words. Especially when they are spoken by such beautiful boys. The red-haired girl who stood in the middle just smiled sweetly, closed her eyes and covered her cheek with her palm, trying to hide the small and real blush that appeared. She herself doesn't remember when such comments were made to her about her appearance, so she couldn't help but smile at the words of the boy standing in front of her. The third was a red-haired beauty, whose short hair framed her face, but at the back of her head she had long hair braided into a pigtail. She was dressed in a red kimono, which did not hide her chic figure, namely breasts of about the second size, thin waist and rounded hips. The kimono was trimmed with gold threads, the silhouette of a 9-tailed fox was embroidered from the same threads on the back, and the hem of the kimono was decorated with a flame pattern. She tried to show with all her appearance that she didn't give a about his statement, but the ears lowered to her head that were on the top of her head, Smetanka 2, rhyme, laughing face and 9 swaying, from side to side, lush, long and 100% very soft tails, spoke of the opposite, and the red color her face was painted and gave her away, showing how pleasant these words were to her. Still, this is her first compliment, well, even if it was not addressed to her personally. She will receive them later so much that you will drown in them. Kurama, having recovered a little from the shock, our mustache decided to turn to the red-haired beauty. "Who are they?" Pointing to the other girls, the heir of the Uzumaki clan asked a question. "Well, of both of them, I know only this one," pointing with a long, sharp, orange nail, at a beautiful maiden with dark red hair, ankle-length, purple eyes, rounded face shape, with ample breasts and a thin waist, dressed in a suit consisting of a light green loose-fitting dress with a blue and white sleeveless blouse and a high-stand collar. She also wore a dark blue ribbon on her left wrist and lavender sandals. "But they have languages, so they will introduce themselves," Kitsune said somehow frivolously. "What's interesting to me is how did you understand that I am me?" Kurama asked suspiciously, narrowing her red eyes. "How did I understand that you are you?" Naruto answered the question with a question. "Well, it's simple, I know only one person with fox ears and 9 tails," the little fox answered with an instructive tone, as if explaining some basic thing. This tone even made Kurama blush a little. "Wait, you said one person, that is, did you know what gender I was?" The 9 tails asked a little shocked. "I assumed," served as an answer for Kurama. She was already about to ask another question, but, ahead of your question, how, I will say that the structure of the skull and skeleton of foxes and vixens is different, and yours personally said that you are a fox, but for some reason you talked about yourself in the male gender?" Naru said the last phrase without understanding, but immediately continued, "And the name, Kurama, is more suitable for a girl than for a guy, huh?" The last prince of the Uzumaki clan somehow finished nervously. "Everything is clear with you," the strongest of the Bijou said with a slight smile. "Okay, we've sorted this out, now tell me," he looked at the hitherto silent ladies, "who are you?" Naruto asked a question, "and let's start with you." He finished his sentence, pointing his finger at the yellow-eyed one, at which time Tomato became a little depressed. But Naruto didn't notice this, unlike the girls around him. You know, I would love to talk about myself now. I quietly looked at my neighbor, but we still have time, even a lot. Unlike her, she nodded towards the purple eye, therefore, I will pass this baton to her, and smacked the red-haired girl on the back, scaring her a little. Our mustache turned a questioning glance at her, which made her a little nervous, but quickly collected her thoughts and exhaled. Naruto, my name is Kushina Uzumaki, she wanted to continue. Stop. How do you know my name? Neither I nor Kurama called him. Naruto exclaimed questioningly. Hi, well, how can I not know it, after all, I gave it to you. Kushina answered with a smile. In terms of? Uzumaki Jr. was completely stupid. I'm your mother, Naruto, Kushina said with tenderness and care in her eyes and voice. But I'm wondering why Hiruzen didn't tell you anything about Minato and me, Tomato thought. Mother? Naruto said with disbelief and awe. At the same moment, he flew at Kushina, squeezing her in a steel embrace, and tears welled up in his eyes. This action shocked Kushina a little, but she quickly responded with an equally tight hug. Mother. I always wanted to see you and learn about you, but when I asked about you, the Hokage always remained silent and changed the topic. Almost crying, the young man said in a trembling voice. You mentioned fourth Sama, he has something to do with it, and the late third too, he died on the day of Kurama's attack? Naruto asked the question more calmly, but at the end with sarcasm. What does this have to do with Minato? Straight to the point, he is your father. Still, after Minato and I died, Hiruzen had to become Hokage, yet he is experienced, strong, and more or less ruled. So stop, if Hiruzen died, then who is the current Hokage? Fourth, Naruto said without emotion, slowly realizing that and how, unlike his mother. In terms of. So why don't you know about us, what happened that day? I don't understand anything. The red-haired girl screamed, while trembling all over her body. I can explain this. Kurama got into the conversation between mother and son. End immediately. Kushina ordered. Don't yell. The kitsune said irritably. I'll tell you right away, you and Minato are alive. Seeing that Kushina opened her mouth to ask something, don't interrupt. I'm not finished. So where did I stop? Oh yes, exactly. If you want to ask who sealed me, then it was Hiruzen, but he sealed me openly. Well, that's not the point. If your question is why Naruto is an orphan with living parents, then there are a couple of options. First, because of the seal, Naruto's hair color changed, as did the amount and density of his chakra, which could scare Minato, saying that he decided that I had taken over your body. I know the bullshit myself. Anticipating your question, I'll say, this is all due to the fact that my chakra served as a catalyst for awakening the genes of the Uzumaki clan in Naruto and suppressing, although rather burning, the Namake's genes, as weaker ones. Yes, Naru, you are a purebred Uzumaki. The second reason is power. For the village, elders, clans, etc. Naruto is the weapon of the village. After these words, a terrible bloodlust wafted from Kushina, her hair began to rise into the air, dividing into 9 strands. She is even stronger, hugged Naruto close to her as if protecting him from some kind of threat, which made Naruto smile sweetly. Mom, calm down, everything is fine, let Kurama finish, Naru sang in a calm voice, still smiling. His mother's action greatly lifted his mood, so much so that he almost forgot about the sad news that he learned today. Hearing her son's words, Kushina instantly calmed down, after which she looked at Naruto and seeing his eyes filled with calmness and a sweet smile, she involuntarily smiled. I would like to look at his smiling face all my life. How handsome he is. Catching herself at this thought, she blushed and pressed Naruto's head close to her body, hiding her reddened cheeks from him, but she could not hide it from the other girls. They just grinned sarcastically, but didn't say anything. "Thanks Naru, I think I'll continue." Only a muffled, was heard from the red-haired man. He did not want to change his position, he liked this closeness, this warmth that only his mother could give, which he missed so much. If Kushina only blushed more, then the other ladies only giggled, but Kushi didn't even think about loosening her grip. "Okay, I need to speed up, otherwise I'll never finish." Naru is a Jinchuri, and if he becomes attached to someone, no matter who the elders, clan, family/parents, then these people will gain enormous influence over the weapon, thereby gaining truly enormous power, which is not good for others. So even if Minato came to his senses and wanted to return Naruto, then they would give it to him. At this point, Kushina pointed at herself and wanted to say something. And they would probably tell you that Naruto died and someone else was the Jinchuriki. Yes, even if so, then I had to visit Naruto. Still, I know what it's like to be a Jinchuriki. And from Naruto's reaction you can understand that he is seeing me for the first time. Well, this is quite understandable. You had no time for this. Stop. Don't worry, I will explain everything. Firstly, extracting the bijou is a rather painful process. No, it's murderous, you miraculously survived, in general. Secondly, depression, I know how much you love Naru, we all understood that. I remember your emotions when you found out about your pregnancy, how happy you were. At these words, Naruto himself blushed a little and smiled even more happily, but no one saw this, except that one fox felt it. Thirdly, mentalists, it's very easy to penetrate into the head of a weakened and depressed girl and twist everything there. Fourth, you are slowly dying. These words sounded like a sentence. Both the smiling mother and son changed from cheerful, still, this information darkened them, to shocking, and Naruto's face took on a look of genuine horror. How so? He just found his mother and loses her again? No. He won't allow this. I don't know how, but most likely it's some kind of unknown disease that even Tsunade can't cure you. And most likely it was provoked by my release, Kurama finished sadly, pressing her ears and tails to herself. Kurama, don't be sad, it's not your fault. It was not you who broke out of me, but you who were released. Kushina smiled sadly, remembering that day. Still, we will all die someday. No. I won't allow this, I will find a way to cure you and we will live like a happy family. Naruto, my boy, this is most likely impossible. Nothing is impossible, it is difficult to do, and if such is the case, then I will make the impossible possible. And I will never deviate from my goal, this is my ninja way. Naruto almost shouted with enthusiasm. His tone, the seriousness and confidence that flowed directly from his words and the look that was solid like a rock, made everyone who was here without a drop of doubt believe in his words. I believe, son, I believe. And she hugged him, and tears of joy flowed from her eyes. Yes, she is glad that her son has grown up to be such a wonderful man. This is all, of course, good and very interesting, the hitherto silent golden-eyed girl spoke up. But Kurama, how did you understand what was going on with Kushina, and these little things? And the part about Minato was interesting, about the fact that he can supposedly come to his senses. I told you that Makik installed the seal, so because of this I could feel and see everything that was happening with Naruto. And Naru quite often ended up in the hospital. At these words, the girls became gloomy. And Naruto kind of didn't give a. He does not live in the past. If you constantly look into the past, you can miss something important in the present and ruin the future, but no one has cancelled the boomerang. But what he learned about his father saddened him. Still, Ashina replaced his grandfather and he has a mother. Also a very cute little fox, so let Minato go through the forest. But if someone is from Konoha, the Hokage, shinobi, residence, let it be not Konoha, but someone else, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that if they harm his relatives, his family, his loved ones, then Naruto will provide them with such torment that they will beg for death, and will seem like heaven. He promises this, and Naruto never gives up his words. This is his ninja path. That's why I felt everything that was happening around me and your chakra too. The first time, I assumed that you were just visiting someone or undergoing an examination, because one little asshole never stayed in the hospital for more than one day. The brat always ran away. After that, all the girls looked reproachfully at the only guy in their company. He just scratched his head guiltily and laughed nervously. But after a while I noticed that every time your chakra gets weaker and weaker, that's why I suggested this option. And about the fads, I'm already many years old, and I was twice sealed into the wives of the Hokage, politicians, so I know how they think. As for Minato, Naruto, remember those fruits and books that you found in your room? Yes, I remember something like that. The young man thought. Well, these are all gifts, although I would say handouts from Minato. I think that he repents and is trying to somehow appease you, although I think that he wants to tie you to him in order to use you, which is more likely. Most likely, Naruto said emotionlessly. And then something strange began to happen. Kushina began to disappear. This process began from her toes, but gradually Kushina disappeared more and more. Everyone immediately realized that her time had already come. This saddened Naruto to such an extent that transparent droplets of tears began to appear in the corners of his eyes, and Kushina, noticing her son's sad pug, decided to speak. Naruto, son, why are you sad? I'm not dying, I'm just running out of chakra. We will definitely meet. Of course it's a pity that the real me won't know what happened here. I want it a lot. Sob, and I want to tell you, but I don't have time. For some reason, she started crying herself. I know that I'm a bad mother, sob dash, I'm very sorry that I wasn't with you, and that I couldn't save you. I know that I don't deserve you, but please forgive me. With these words, she finally began to cry, fell to her knees and hugged Naruto with all love and tenderness. I'm sorry, she whispered in her son's ear. No, it's not your fault, I understand that. It was already difficult for you. I promise that I will find you, cure you, and we will heal. Everything will heal happily together. I promise. Naruto said, holding back tears. Ashina taught him that a man should not show his weaknesses, tears, and if he does cry, it should be done where no one will ever see it. I'm so glad that you grew up to be such a wonderful man. I don't know if I can say this, but I'm proud of you, son. I want to give you something, for all those birthdays, holidays, successes and victories that I missed. Please close your eyes. Without further ado, Naruto did what he was asked. When Kushina saw this, she began to form unknown seals for the memory transfer technique. For Kurama and, for now, the unknown golden-eyed girl, these actions were incomprehensible, but they were not going to stop her. If it does, it means it's necessary. Here is the last seal, memory transfer seal, Kushina said in her thoughts. Surprise must remain a surprise. After that, Kushina gently placed her hands on Naruto's cheeks and lowered his face a little, until his forehead was level with her lips. I love you, Naruto. The last words that fell from Kushina's lips, her lips slowly lowered to Naruto's forehead to give him his first kiss and her knowledge and techniques, and she had quite a few of them, yet if her friends nicknamed her Red Habanero, then for her enemies she known as Bloody Mary. But not everything went as smoothly as we wanted. One red-haired lady decided to spoil such a touching moment a little. And at that moment when Kushina's lips touched Naruto's forehead, she ran up behind Naruto like a bullet and raised his head so that Kushina's and Naruto's lips met in a kiss. Shock. The first thing the two experienced was shock from what was happening, but it quickly gave way to pleasure, which cannot be described in words. It spread like a river throughout the body, bringing them both almost to ecstasy, forcing you to close your eyes from pleasure and only deepen the kiss. But nothing lasts forever. the next moment Naruto lost consciousness. And Kushina, with a dull look and heavy breathing, watched as her son's body was quickly pushed to the floor. She quickly came to her senses and caught Naruto a couple of centimeters before he fell. A couple of seconds later she realized what had just happened, after which her complexion resembled the color of her own hair. "Why did you do that?" Kushina exclaimed stuttering. "Ha ha ha, you should see yourself. What is it that you didn't like?" "Well, what a feeling, the feeling that it was you who took Naruto's first kiss," Kurama said, chuckling. Of course, she was a little angry with herself for this action, but what wouldn't you do for the sake of your loved one? She, Naruto, and Kushina will thank her too. "I liked it," Kushina whispered barely audibly. "What can't you hear?" Kurama imitated her, and for greater effect she put her palms to her fluffy ears, saying, "Come on louder, I can't hear you dash." "I liked it," the red-haired girl was already shouting, becoming even redder, justifying her childhood nickname, Tomato. Kurama would have teased her further, but there is no time, Kushina has almost disappeared, the technique has taken her last chakra. And Kushina noticed this, so taking her emotions under control, looking at the girls, she said with a pleading look, "Please take care of Naruto." Kushina asked with a glance full of tenderness and love. "Of course, how could it be otherwise?" The girls ordered. "Thank you," Kushina said her last words, smiling, and then disappeared without a trace. "You're welcome," Kurama said into the void. "So we sorted this out, there is one last question left. Who are you?" Kurama asked with pressure, but the golden-eyed girl, not noticing her tone, simply lay on her back with her hands under her head. "And I'll say this after our prince wakes up," yawned Dash, the mysterious lady answered sleepily. "And why is that?" Kurama's indignation knew no bounds. "Who is this girl to be so insolent to me?" "Because, I already wanted to end the dialogue, but seeing the indignant face of my interlocutor I decided to continue. I see this answer will not suit you. So I'll say, I'm tired. Today there were too many shocks and sad news and conclusions. They tired me out, and then I will be too lazy to repeat myself for Naruto. Although this is not true, I will do anything for him, therefore, I suggest you rest." "Yes, perhaps you're right, rest won't hurt." "Okay, we'll deal with you later." Kurama replied wearily. Lying down next to Naruto, using his chest as a pillow, the kitsune fell asleep. The time has come for the dark-haired chocolate girl to be indignant, but, what's stopping me from doing the same? That's what they decided, only if Kurama was on the right side, she took the place on the left side. And she plunged into the kingdom of Morpheus under the rhythmic heartbeat of Naruto, like her neighbor. I finally finished this As for the next part, I don't know when it will be, maybe this, maybe next week, or maybe next month. It's easier to write a work in which there are sexual relationships when you yourself have a girlfriend, at least for me. Naruto woke up first. He was about to get up, but he felt as if something was pressing on him. Bowing his head, he noticed Kurama on his chest, covering everyone with her tails, and yesterday's stranger, who possessively threw her leg over him. Naruto was pretty freaked out by this picture, but he didn't dare wake them up, they were so cute while they were sleeping. But he needs to get up, so he created a pillow and quickly replaced himself with it. He already realized that yesterday's event was not a dream. This was evidenced by Kurama's new appearance and the presence of this mysterious girl. He began to remember what happened yesterday. So he tears off the cage, 3 goddesses of beauty appear in front of him, after a conversation with Kurama, and an acquaintance with Kushina, the truth about his origin, then a kiss with Kushina and that feeling of euphoria that he has never experienced, and especially with Kushina, it is now difficult for him calling her mom after that, then the red-haired woman's whole life flashed before his eyes. Her childhood with her parents, training in the clan, or rather with her grandfather, who is Ashina. For Naruto it was quite a shock, but he was glad, he had a big family, it made him happy. The destruction of Uzushio and the death of Ashina with Kushina's parents, this brought her quite a bit of pain. After Kushina arrived in Konoha at the last wish of her parents, there was Mito Uzumaki, the wife of the first Hokage and her grandmother. Entering the academy, in which she was teased as a tomato, but in it she was able to find a friend who became almost her sister, namely Mikoto Uchiha. Graduation from the academy, assignment to teams, becoming a Jinchuriki and the subsequent death of Mito, only thanks to Tsunade, who became almost like a mother to her, and Mikoto, she continued to smile despite the huge burden that fell on her shoulders. Over time, she established a relationship with her second teammate, so much so that he became like a brother to her, and the boy's name was Hayoshi Ikuno. But before that, a lot of water will still flow away. After some time, one of the most important events in Kushina's life happened, her kidnapping by the Kyumo shinobi and how Minato saved her. Naruto had two feelings about this event. He was glad that the Kyumovites were left with their noses and Kushina was safe, but the fact that Minato was carrying her in his arms gave him a strange feeling, as if his heart had been stabbed. But doubt also filled his thoughts. He knows that Namikaze is a genius who has never seen the light of day, and now he is the strongest man in the world and the fastest in history. But just after graduating from the academy, he killed 6 ANBU members in seconds. It seemed strange to him, and he would definitely figure it out. Then the frame changed and showed Kushina from the other side. Covered in blood, she destroyed squads of enemy shinobi, and the Third Shinobi World War claimed many lives. It was on her that Kushina was given the nickname Bloody Mary, and also Hayoshi died, covering her with his body, protecting her from an attack in the back. This was the impetus for the awakening of the chains of Kongo Fuso and the Flame Genome. Yes, on that day and after, she became the true Uzumaki. She received what the whole shinobi world feared them for. Their madness in battle justifies their name, Crimson-Haired Devils. Naruto looked at Kushina's battle with bated breath. He felt unrealistic admiration and excitement. The sight of pouring blood and burnt flesh brought incredible sensations. Perhaps it was now that he finally fell in love with Kushina. But time passes and with it the end of everything comes. The war was no exception. And for unknown reasons, the frame changed to the moment where Kushina finds out about her pregnancy, and the joyful smile that shone on the scarlet-haired face all these 10 months was brighter than the sun. Naruto realized that he wanted that smile to be on her always. The next moment, Naruto saw the moments of his birthday. Kushina's cries of pain caused incredible pain to his heart, pain that lasted for hours, but suddenly they stopped, and the room was filled with crying, his crying. If before this the red-haired girl's face expressed pain, now happiness could be seen on it. But nothing lasts forever. That masked bastard stole a baby. Minato managed to save him, teleported him to the house, and then Kushina. The scarlet-haired girl realized that she could die, and her son would most likely become a Jinchuriki. She even thought about what kind of seal they would put on Naruto. Therefore, having spent the few remaining forces, she created a special seal in which she sealed her chakra, and programmed it so that it would come into action when Naruto opened the seal. Our main character was very surprised by this. Even in a half-dead state, Kushina gave all her strength to help her child. At that moment he fully realized that he was loved. No, he understood this before, but life taught him, trust, but verify. Afterwards everything went as we all know. Minato appeared and said that he would seal Kurama in Naruto, to which Kushi was against it, although she accepted this fact. Even though Minato is a father who wants his son to be happy, but as a Hokage he cannot leave the village without protection in the form of a tailed beast, but the mother's heart refused to accept this. Then there was a break. Naruto realized that Kushini's chakra had reproduced all the memories it had. What happened next is temporarily unknown to him. Immersed in his thoughts, Naruto did not even notice how the fair woke up. "Naruto, what are you thinking about?" Kitsune asked. "Oops, sorry I didn't notice how you woke up." "Yes, there are a couple of things that worry me." Naruto answered evasively, not wanting to reveal his feelings for Kushina. Do you want to talk about this topic? Although it's clear from you that you don't want to. The fox asked and answered her own question. Okay, more on that later. Now I have only one question that has interested me since yesterday. Kurama, what kind of girl is standing next to you? Naruto asked. Me? My name is Yoruchi, although for you I am known as the goddess of death Shinigami, answered the girl with a sweet smile on her lips, but with an eerie aura in which all the senses screamed that it was worth running as far as possible. So. Question number 2. Why does Shinigami herself come to a member of the Uzumaki clan, even if the clan is almost destroyed and I am the prince of this clan? The clan was destroyed, and many members of the Uzumaki clan were captured? Asked a seemingly calm, but grieving guy inside. Roughly speaking, you answered your own question. I am the patron of your clan. When the clan was attacked, I could not help in any way. It hurt me to see the deaths and destruction of the clan. Therefore, when I was called, I felt the Uzumaki blood in you, and from the main branch, I made a seal in such a way that when it was removed by the bearer, it would appear in his subconscious. Starting in complete calm, but with each next word her voice died down and one felt regret and pain, and at the end of the speech, small streams of tears flowed from her eyes. Naruto, seeing the tears of the goddess, was surprised, but did not stand like a pillar, but slowly and very tenderly hugged her while saying, "Why are you crying? Everything has already passed and nothing can be changed. You are the patron of our clan and you can help him even now." Yes, our hero was bad at consoling, but his slow, quiet and so pleasant voice, as well as his gentle hugs, were still able to calm the goddess. But what picture can you see now? The young guy hugs the goddess of death herself, and she is only happy about it. Why? It's simple. She liked him, and his warm aura, which could turn into either cold or absolute evil, excited her. She wanted to stay with him. But how? How can she do this? What words should I say? Such questions were in her head. After standing for about 5 minutes, she figured out how to be next to him, and then be as it will. Naruto, please let me stay behind you and help you. The goddess said in a quiet and very sweet voice. What about Naruto? After the kiss with Kushi, he couldn't understand himself at all. He was drawn to all three at the same time. But how can you be with three at the same time? This is against morality. But he couldn't just let Yoruchi go. Of course, stay. Just answer please whether you can leave here or not. Of course I can, just like Kurama. Previously, she could not get out because of the seal. The goddess answered. That's great. But now we need to leave the subconscious. Grandpa is most likely worried that I've been passed out for about 30 hours already. Said our red-haired. Well, not exactly 30, but just 3 hours, here time flows faster than in reality. 10 hours here, 1 hour in reality. Kurama, who had been standing and had been silent until that moment, noted. But you still need to talk to grandfather and you should also participate in this conversation. Okay, we'll come out and get you. The girls answered in unison. Subconscious after Naruto left. Yoruchi, what was that? Since when have goddesses been interested in mortals? Kurama asked caustically. Who spoke? It's no better on its own. A Biju who likes a person. For your information, I am also an empath. The goddess answered in the same manner. So, I'm an empath, you're an empath. Him too? Kitsune asked with caution. In general, yes, but now he doesn't know how to use it, the goddess answered. Then it's not as bad as I thought. Well, let's go get our loved one. Where are we without him? Naruto woke up and Ashino stood in front of him. Grandpa, why are you here and not resting? Naruto, tell me, who allowed your division to break the Shinigami seal alone? Ashino said calmly, raising the tone and pressure of the CI. Well, probably no one. But nothing happened, said our red-haired man. It's good that nothing bad happened. Now another question. What happened after the seal was removed? The dissatisfied old man asked. Well, I met a certain Kushina Uzumaki and 2 more people whom I can introduce you to personally. And also awakened the chains of Kongo Fuso along with Yuzugen, Naruto answered mysteriously. As I understand it, you know who she is to you, and upon learning about this, an awakening occurred? Well, that's about it. Now let's get 2 things clear. 1. You need to learn how to use new abilities. 2. I need the best geneticist of this world, and also after you meet someone, I will ask you to find out in which villages there are Uzumaki. Naruto said somehow too seriously. As for the eyes and chains, this is not a question. Yes, and you can find out the whereabouts of the surviving clan members. And the best geneticist is S-class criminal Orochimaru. The old man answered. In general, not everything is as bad as I thought. He has weaknesses and I'm sure you know them. Right? Asked Naruto. I only know about one of his weaknesses, the Sharingan. Ashino answered. It will be difficult to get it, but it's possible. The young man concluded for himself. Grandson, why did you give in to a geneticist? Asked Ashino. Kushina is sick and no doctor can help. She is dying. I have only one option, gene rearrangement, and this can only be done by learning from him. Naruto explained. Okay, that's all a little later, now I need to introduce you to them. After these words, Kurama and Yoruchi appeared to the right and left of Naruto. Oh, grandson, what have you gotten yourself into? Why does Shinigami-sama's friend appear in your subconscious? But the second girl, as I understand it, is the strongest Bijou, Kyubi, but Yoko? The old man affirmed rather than asked. Grandpa, tell me, is it possible to surprise you with anything? I understand to guess that the sweet kitsune standing to my left is Kyubi, but Yoku. But about the one who is standing to my right, where from? The young man said in shock. It's simple, Shinigami-sama came to my subconscious after I was resurrected, Ashino calmly answered. Yeah. Okay, since everything worked out this way, it will be easier. The girl on my right is called Yoruchi, and the girl on my left is Kurama. After talking a little more and learning about the details of the meeting, our company went to bed. Kurama and Yoruchi slept in one room, and Naruto and Ashino in the other. The next morning. Grandfather, what will we study first? Naruto asked. Let's start with something simpler. That is, from Kongo Fuso, answered the old man. Polygon. Naruto, in order to release the chains from yourself, you need to release chakra and imagine the shape of the chains. The more chakra you lay out, the stronger the chains will be. Also the number of chains is determined by you. You want one and the chakra investment will be huge, it will be much thicker. The maximum number of chains is limited, but they can be increased with long practice. Usually awakening shows the maximum number of them at the moment. Yours is scarlet, these are the best chains. There are also gold and platinum ones. As you understand, gold ones are the least durable, but at the same time they can hold back even Kurama in animal form. Your chains can easily hold back the 10th tail in its original form. Said the oldest representative of the Uzumaki. Naruto understood roughly everything and tried to summon the chains. He succeeded on the 3rd attempt and their number was 12 chains, which is an excellent result upon awakening. 4 hours of training passed. I finally managed to control their movements only with my thoughts. Naruto said in a joyful, but terribly tired voice. You're doing great. But we still have Yuzugen's training, said the gray-haired man. After these words, our little one passed out. And the girls watching this immediately ran up to him. As Kurama stated, Naruto was chakra depleted and needed rest. Naruto woke up in the middle of the night due to a nightmare involving Kushina. He dreamed that she died before he came to Konoha, although she called him that. Waking up in a cold sweat with shortness of breath, he didn't even notice that he was lying between two beautiful girls. He tried to lie back, but with his hand, thinking that it was a pillow, he squeezed Kurama's chest, which is why she moaned in her sleep. Still, realizing that he was not the only one in the room, he decided to get away from there. Naruto escaped from the room and decided to train in the chains of Kongo Fuso. Expect the next chapter in about 3 to 4 days, maybe sooner or later, I don't know yet. Polygon 815. Naruto trained in summoning chains and he did it quite well. Here at the training ground, like a jack-in-the-box, a medium-sized dog appears, but with 3 heads. He confidently approached Naruto. "Man, you are a child who should bring either complete chaos or world peace to this world," said the dog. Our young man, who initially did not understand where the voice was coming from, began to look around, but then decided to look down. "What kind of nonsense is a dog with 3 heads?" exclaimed the red-haired one. "Not just a dog, but a messenger of the guardian of the 3rd circle of Cerberus. My name is Dixo," the dog answered. "I wonder what I did that made Cerberus himself interested in me?" asked Naruto. "You are a child of the prophecy, which was compiled by the primordial sages and seers even before the appearance of people in this world. You are the one who will save or destroy this world. You have to go with me for 5 years, which is equivalent to 5 hours in your world," Dixo replied. "Well, there's no choice, let's go," Naruto answered, not fully realizing what he signed up for. After agreement, 2 pentagrams appeared, one became Dixo, and the other became Naruto. Unknown dimension. "Man, you have come. Now you have 5 years of continuous training waiting for you. In your 1st and 2nd year of study you will go through demonization. You will take on a demonic form and learn to control it. In years 3 to 4, you will have to choose a unique demonization, be it wings or extra limbs. Few people know that your eyes will be on the 5th, but your eyes evolve because of love and warm feelings. This is a test of these eyes. After pain, you must experience the warmth of another person and reciprocate sincerely." Naruto was completely out. Well, how could it be otherwise? He just found out that his eyes are not in full form. He will get a demonic version as well as a unique feature. Here are the main points. I explain. Describing in detail is difficult and boring, especially since 90% of people will simply skip the tedium of the description. For 1 to 2 years, Naruto trained and learned to transform into a demonic form. But first he got it. Let's find out how it was. "Are you ready?" Cerberus asked the guy. "Yes," Naruto answered confidently and briefly. At Cerberus's nod, the demoness Lilith approached the table on which Naruto was tied in only his shorts. There were 4 catheters installed on his body, 1 in each arm and leg. Having created copies, Lilith approached the cotters while simultaneously injecting a certain dark red substance with a syringe. Literally 5 seconds after the injections, Naruto arched and began to scream. This happened for literally 40 seconds, and then Naruto passed out. Afterwards there were the most difficult trainings on how to freely transition into a demonic form, if you briefly needed to want this and allow the form to spread across the body. Naruto's retreat. In the form of a demon looked like, his skin instantly became shiny and it seemed that he was covered with some kind of magma processes. The skin itself changed color to black and red. Naruto himself became, literally speaking, a 2x2 closet. End of retreat. 3 to 4 years. While training in the first years, Naruto realized that he was losing in the air and he needed wings, because in sparring with Lilith he lost only because of his inability to fly, although if Lilith relaxed too much, Naruto won. And he also realized that a couple more hands would not be superfluous. And yet he chose flight, wings. Wings appeared from the back, more specifically grew in the area of the thoracic spine. They looked like bones covered with torn flesh. The procedure was the same as demonization. 5 years. He trained his eyes by studying all the ways of Rinnegan and understanding one of the abilities, time slowing. It manifested itself when spatting with Lilith, when the girl decided to attack from behind, and Naruto could not react. He unknowingly put chakra into his left eye and slowed down Lilith for 30 seconds. Later he developed a deceleration ceiling of up to 5 minutes. Everyone around was moving, but very slowly, that is, if a person walked at a speed of 4 kilometers per hour, then with a deceleration of 4 meters per hour. Evolution has not yet passed, but it may not exist at all. After finishing his training, Naruto signed a recruiting contract with Cerberus, but could also summon Lilith if he wanted. So the training ground is 1315. So, judging by the remnants of chakra, there was no one here. That's good, but how can I explain the fact that I grew up like that? Naruto thought to himself. Naruto slowly walked towards the house. He could feel the chakra of all three. I thought about what he would say and how he would justify himself. Nothing else came to his mind other than telling the truth. Slowly, deliberately, he opened the door, went into the kitchen and sat down to wait. He knew they sensed chakra. And now is the moment of truth. Naruto sat quietly at the moment when 2 girls appeared in the kitchen. Who are you? What are you doing here? Yoruchi quickly asked questions, holding a katana in her hands. Oh well. Calmly. I am Naruto. The guy answered calmly. Yes? Then I am the sage of the 6 paths, the goddess quipped. Naruto is at least 4 years younger, she added. Okay, Yoruchi and you, Kurama, answer my question. Who besides me can know your names? Naruto asked. Naruto? But you were younger. What's happening? Realizing that she was not being deceived, the goddess asked. The world of summoning. Naruto answered dryly. Who is your summon? Kitsune asked warily this time. Cerberus and Hydra. Naruto answered and began to monitor the girls' reactions. Why you? Understanding the seriousness of the situation, Kitsune asked. But I don't know why. But now the eyes and chains are under complete control and we should go to Orochimaru. The guy stated. After these words, Ashina appeared in the kitchen. Okay, go. I will look for the surviving Uzumaki. But if, when you return here, you do not find me, then send chakra to the signal seal in my room. Ashina warned. That's what we'll do. Naruto answered and began to get ready. Our heroes set out on the road. They walked for a relatively short time, only 3 days. Orochimaru was waiting for them in his hideout. Having reached the shelter, they felt the movement of chakra in their direction. They stopped and waited. If I'm not mistaken, Naruto? A pale-faced man said as he came out of the shelter. You're right, Orochimaru. I have one question for you. Can you teach me genetics in the shortest possible time? The guy asked straight to the forehead. Of course I can, but what benefit do I get from this? Auric also asked point blank. You have many weaknesses, such as immortality or the Sharingan. But there is hatred that is similar. Your and my hatred goes towards one person whose name is Minato Namikaze. Yes, I know that it was with his help that you were declared a nuke nin. My proposal is this, you teach me genetics, and I will take Minato's life, Naruto replied. Clever Naruto-kun. He studied my past and my goals. Orochimaru grinned and began to weigh the pros and cons, and agreed to study. Months passed and Naruto studied hard. The first step was theory, which Naruto handled easily. The second step is the rearrangement of a separate section of DNA and the identification of violations in the DNA. And finally, the third step is the extraction and reconstruction of the complete DNA chain. Naruto finished DNA in 2 months. And now there's a lot going on about RNA diseases and their structure. The stages are the same, but with the goal of eliminating them without restructuring. He managed it in 3 months. The genetics ran out and Naruto was ready to treat Kushina. Their further path led to Konoha. What awaits our heroes, what trials will be on their way, and most importantly, will Naruto be able to restrain himself at the first meeting with his relatives? We'll see in the next chapter. Naruto was ready to leave for Konoha. He slowly walked out of Orochimaru's hideout, followed by 2 girls. Kurama, with the help of Henge, hid her tails and ears, so that no one would write why no one is surprised by Kitsune. They left the shelter and had already been on the road for 2 days. They stopped only to sleep and to eat. As a result, they still had about 10 hours to go along the upper paths without stopping. All the time, Naruto thought what he would experience when he saw Kushina, and the main question for him was what would happen when he met Minato, whether he could restrain himself and not break him immediately upon meeting, whether he could keep a cool head. Our trio was approaching the gates of Konoha. There were literally 50 meters left. Konoha Gate. At a slow pace, they moved on. "Stop, state your names and purpose of arrival," commanded the eternal guard of the gate. "My name is Meizu, their names are Kiora and Ruri. The purpose of arrival is to visit the sites of one of the 5 great villages." "Okay, since you are visitors, take these passes. If you want to settle permanently in our village, then contact the Yandaimyo Hokage." Having given them passes and letting them into the village, he gave advice for the future. "Thanks for the info," Naruto said and moved on. After walking a few blocks, Naruto started a conversation with the girls. "Kurama, Yoruchi, which of you can sense Kushina's chakra?" the guy asked. "I feel her somewhere in the hospital, most likely she is either in intensive care or in a separate single ward." Kurama answered the question after 3 minutes of scanning the area. "Girls, there is a task for you. Find a hotel and get a large room. Then you can do whatever you want, but I ask you to stay together and don't get involved in a fight." "Okay," the only guy in the squad gave instructions. "Okay." The girls answered at the same time. At this point they separated. Konoha Hospital. Naruto walked up to what looked like a registry. "Hello, please tell me which ward Kushina Uzumaki is in," Naruto asked politely. "Hello, ward number 77. The nurse gave him the answer. "Thank you." Naruto climbed to the 3rd floor, as he realized this floor consisted of single rooms. He found her room and was very afraid of the meeting. He felt it, he understood that the meeting was inevitable, but he could not do anything. And so he opens the door and he walks in. He sees her. His eyes are filled with sorrow and tears. Tears rolled down from his eyes. She lay there alive, although you couldn't call it life. She was exhausted. Her skin was unrecognizably pale, and her cute cheeks, which Naruto liked so much when they met in the subconscious, had in fact disappeared, only her cheekbones were visible. She looked like she had no muscles and all that was left was skin and bones. He did not believe that this was his blood mother. He did not believe that this was the one who took his first kiss. He pulled himself together and began to look for the problem and its causes. It took about 2 hours of diagnostics. And the problem was identified. This problem was chakra contamination. Her chakra was infected with Kurama's dark chakra. He found 2 ways out. The first is complete filtration of chakra, which would inevitably lead to Kushina's death due to her condition. The second is the introduction of a catalyst and the replacement of the infected chakra DNA chain with a clean and immune one. Such a part would lead to the fact that she stopped receiving pain from the dark chakra and was able to turn it into her own. He made an incision in his forearm and collected his blood in a flask. This was the first step. The second is the restructuring of nucleic acids in the chakra seat, and then the introduction of one's chakra as a catalyst. That is, in essence, he had to give 3 components of himself: blood, NK, and chakra. He created 3 clones, 2 to help, and 1 as a backup and energy storage. The operation began. The first step of the blood transfusion, he remembered that they only had AB+, and without any problems began transfusion of his blood. Everything was going calmly, but something stabbed in my chest. He decided to check what was happening to her. He decided to scan the brain. And what do you think was found? Bookmarks. And not only for loyalty, but also for love, gullibility, and changing memories. And then he understood everything. He understood this heroic rescue performed by Minato, Kushina's trust in it. How angry he was. But he remembered about the operation. Together with the clone, he began slow manipulation of the NK, and then the chakra transfusion. He also decided to remove the bookmarks. 8 hours of surgery passed. Naruto ate as he stood on his feet. Having scattered the clones, he only had enough energy to unseal the sleeping bag and go to bed in the room. The next morning, Naruto woke up and saw that Kushina looked much better than when they first met in the ward literally 16 hours ago. He created clones to go and buy food and clothes for Kushina. Naruto sat and waited for her to wake up. And then the moment came, the moment of conversation. The moment of revealing the truth. A moment for which it was worth going all this way. Kushina slowly opened her eyes. She didn't understand what was happening. She felt like a person without a past and could not believe that she had been deceived all her life. She was afraid that she was frankly speaking her life. And then her gaze met his. Her thoughts about her lost life went far into the sunset. She liked him, and far from being a child or a friend, she fell in love. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Kushina asked. "I'm a simple guy, my name is Naruto, but in this village, for everyone, I'm Meizu now. I am here for one simple reason: to help you get rid of the disease. And also to take revenge on one bastard who ruined the life not only of me, but also of you." Answered Naruto's questions. "Interesting, of course. But why did you suddenly want to help me?" "Yes, revenge is yours. But the rest is just a whim. And what makes you think that you can help me? I am incurably ill." Kushina thought constructively. "You still don't understand who I am? And the fact that you are already cured and all that remains is to recover." Naruto answered her thoughts. "I have no idea who you are. And the fact that I was cured was noticeable, but not the fact that it was completely cured. Well then, let's reveal the cards. You are completely cured. This is the first. Second. Biologically I am your son. They tried to kill me, but Grandpa Ashino saved me. Yes, you heard right, Ashino Uzumaki, the first Yuzukage of the village of red-haired devils. Then I found out and decided to help you when I destroyed the seal holding back the Kyubi. Only then did an incident occur. In short, your chakra embedded in the seal took away my first kiss when destroyed. Yes, that's it. For me, you are not a mother in the usual sense, for me you are a beautiful girl who I like. Now you have no bookmarks and it's up to you to decide what to do. I kept my promise to you. The rest is up to you." Naruto said. Kushina fell deeper and deeper into shock with each sentence. And his words that she is not his mother. Having recovered a little from the shock, Kushina began to speak. "So what now? What is the point of living if everything in my life is a lie?" asked the worried and shocked woman. Now live for yourself. Find true love. If you want to escape from here, I can help. If you want to stay, it's your right. I don't want to force you into anything. But I don't want to let go either. If it were my right, I would grab you and run away from here, but I have no right to do this. What if I want to run away? How will you do this? Asked Kushina. These are already my problems. I need to know if you want to run away. The rest is my concern. You rest and think about what you want from life now. My clones will come soon with food and clothes, Naruto replied. Naruto left Kushina's room, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Although she understood that he was her love. Yes, she thought it seemed like he was her son, but after a fleeting meeting with his clones, she realized that she loved him far from being a son. Now let's get back to Naruto. He walked and thought about what to do. He experienced strange feelings. A certain warmth from the fact that Kushina is alive and those words about the fact that he likes her as a girl. Why did he say them? Why, he himself did not understand. But he realized that he needed help in this delicate matter. And the only people he could trust were waiting for him at the hotel. Naruto arrived at the hotel. Having found out at the reception which room his girlfriends were staying in, he went there. Naruto's room. Went into the room. He calmly walked into the living room and sat down on the sofa. He heard that someone was in the bathroom. He sat and waited. Half an hour later, Kurama came out of the bathroom wearing only a towel. Of course, Naruto noted her curves and her beautiful form, but he didn't go further than a riveted gaze. What about Kurama? She understood everything and felt his emotions. She was pleased with his admiration and interest, but she was more worried about other emotions, his uncertainty and fear of loss. She went to another room and threw off the towel and put on a kimono, and then went out to him. Crouching next to him, or more precisely, behind him and tilting him back so that his head was between her breasts. What's bothering you? She slowly began to probe the source of his problems. Kurama, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of losing Kushina. I performed the operation, it was successful. But the further conversation and what I said worried me very much. Not understanding what to say, I gave in to my emotions and my instincts and said that I didn't see her as a mother, but as a beautiful girl. Why and why I don't know. I need your advice. Naruto answered briefly, summarizing all the events. It's simple. Are you in love? And don't look at me with a shocked look. You love her exactly as a girl. Simply put, you want to see her as your girlfriend. And I'll tell you a secret, she wants this too, so don't worry and relax. She gave the simplest conclusion that the guy had not thought of. Thank you, Ku. Naruto said, and one more question, do you mind if I fall asleep in this position? The guy asked. Please. As for your question, I don't mind. Answered Kurama, who herself liked the fact that the guy was lying on her chest. Thank you. Naruto said, looking at the girl's face. His further action surprised not only Kurama, but also himself. Again succumbing to instincts, he stood up and kissed her on her soft, scarlet and, as it turned out, very sweet lips. First kiss in real life. Of course, the kiss was far from perfect and was supposed to be a simple friendly kiss, but instincts are a funny thing. Everything went much further, namely the French kiss, but inept and strange, but what the difference does it make when you kiss someone you care about? Both had a huge amount of endorphins, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, nothing further happened. Just a kiss. After the kiss, Naruto fell asleep on Kurama's chest, and she could not understand whether everything was for real or just her imagination. Morning the next day, Naruto woke up and went to the hospital to see Kushina. Walking down the street, he noticed a sweet store and decided to buy them for Kushina. While going to the hospital, he met the Namikaze family in the park. Naruto held on so as not to immediately break into all of them, so as not to kill them. Early, too early, he repeated to himself, he was able to restrain himself and pass by them. He heard only one phrase from the little one. "Dad, when will this Uzumaki die? I'm tired of Aunt Mihiko not being able to live with us forever." Naruto, and that he was furious, but he held on and prayed to all the gods to restrain himself. And he could, well, like him. Yaruchi sensed bad intentions from Naruto and quickly reacted to the situation and blocked his emotions. And then, when he was in the hospital, she unlocked them. Hospital. Naruto walked into Kushina's room. She stood and looked out the window. She knew who had come to her. He slowly, as if afraid of doing something wrong, approached her. He came almost close to her from behind and hugged her. "Hello, how are you feeling?" asked Naruto. "Hello, I feel good, but it will be great after." Without finishing the sentence, she turned 180 degrees in his arms and kissed him. "Now it's great." Naruto was shocked. She kissed him herself. No, of course he believed Kurama, but so quickly. Then he recovered a little from the shock and he and Kushina sat on the bed. Well, as they sat, Naruto sat behind him, and Kushina's back was against his chest. They talked sweetly and casually, kissing from time to time. So the hours flew by. Every visit of Naruto was happiness for Kushina, and every second with her was happiness for him. So days passed, then weeks, in total, about 3 weeks passed. Kushina had almost recovered and the day of her escape was soon to come. But as it turned out, the exam for the title of Chunin was soon to take place. The day of departure or escape has come. Naruto really wanted to kill the entire Namikaze family, but common sense and the desire to leave quietly stopped him. Naruto sat and thought about how to leave quietly and with great advantage for himself. And so he thought of how to annoy Konoha and leave, and at the same time steal a couple of scrolls. He knew that Minato kept the completed version of Hiraishin at home in a safe under blood seals. He learned this from Kushina. Naruto understood that there was no way he could steal the completed version, but there was Tobirama's version, which meant it would be possible to finalize it. He came up with a plan. The plan is as follows. 1. Prepare the girls to leave the village. Instead of Kushina, she will leave her clone under the henge who will play an important role. 2. Attach explosion tags to some objects. 3. Go out with the girls, put a henge on Kushina and hide the chakra. Henge he will put Kurama, and Kurama itself will go into print. 4. The clone remains in the village and, as time passes, undercover, but sneaks into the residence and steals equipment. 5. The clone leaves without attracting attention and, upon leaving the village, detonates all the explosion tags, dumps under the fuss, and when pursued, the clone will create a clone and dispel it, and Naruto will receive information. The plan seemed well thought out and he began to execute it. Morning. Hospital. Hello, my love. It's time for us to leave. So take off that hospital rag and put on some normal clothes. Naruto commanded. Hello. We're finally leaving here. I'll change now, just turn away. Kushi said. Okay. After changing her clothes, Kushina quietly approached Naruto from behind and hugged him. Quietly whispering in the ear of your beloved, I love you. Naruto, unexpectedly, stood in a stupor for about 10 seconds, but then he turned around and kissed the red-haired girl, and she was only happy about it. Air, as you know, is not endless, so the kiss had to be broken. I love you too, but we have to go, said Naruto, who was already impatient to leave this village. Fine. Kushina answered this. Having created a clone and reincarnated him into Kushina, and Kushina into Kurama, they first left the ward, and then the hospital. Arriving at the hotel, they found both Kurama and Yaruchi in the room. Walking up to Kurama, Naruto kissed her. Kushina began to think that she had been betrayed again, but still decided to understand why her boyfriend was kissing another girl. Naruto, don't you want to say anything? Kushina asked angrily, dispelling hang. Want. What you just saw is true. I'll explain. I am the last prince of the Uzumaki clan. Our clan is practically destroyed and I need more than one or even two wives to restore the clan. And believe me, I won't marry just for the sake of lemon, and I love all my wives and girls equally, so please give me the answer now. You still love me, regardless of whether I'm, let's say, too much of a wife or not. Your answer will not change the escape plan. You will leave the village and live in Uzushio. So? Naruto asked at the end of the explanation. Well, your explanation explains a lot. And yes, I still love you too. As a sign of proof, she came up and kissed him. That's good, now let's leave. Have you collected everything? He asked Kurama and Yoruchi. Yes, we can leave. They gave their answer. They left the village without any problems, although they had to explain that Kurama is a nine-tailed fox because Kushina did not understand what it meant to get into the seal. However, Kushina was no longer surprised even by this. They left the village and headed towards Ashino's hideout. Meanwhile, the clone's POV. So it seems like a day has passed, we can arrange fireworks, the clone thought. The clone calmly transformed into a random person and headed towards the residence. So I set the explosion tags, now the scrolls. He entered the vault, simultaneously knocking out two guards and stole scrolls with techniques of different elements, which would be very useful. Then he climbed into Minato's office and stole the Kage scroll, well, just a burglar thief, and then left the village. But the signaling barrier around Konoha made itself known. He was chased after transmitting information to the original. The clone blew up the tags and continued to run away. End POV of the clone. Naruto and his companion stopped in a small village. At the moment when he wanted to go to bed, information came from the clone. Your division. Why can't everything go smoothly? Naruto asked himself. He left the hotel and ran towards the clone. Based on the information, the clone was pursued by about 20 to 25 ANBU. Which was a bad deal. Well, okay, we'll manage. Battlefield. Naruto stood and waited for the clone. Before the fight, he thought. So, you can't show your eyes, chains and calling too, genomes are undesirable, but it's possible, bad. Very bad. Well, oh well, if everything goes badly, we'll use everything we have. So here they are. A clone appeared, followed by an ANBU. Naturally, Naruto put on a mask and a black cloak so that he would not be recognized. The clone handed over the scrolls and disappeared. I order you to give up the scrolls and surrender without a fight. You are surrounded by more than 20 people. If you try to resist, you will be eliminated, the ANBU in a dog mask shouted across the entire field. Well, try to eliminate me, said our red-haired. 5 others ran towards Naruto and prepared techniques. A taijutsu fight ensued. Naruto stood and waited, he was surrounded. One tried to jump from behind and grab it. Deftly dodging and quickly snatching a kunai from his pouch, Naruto killed the first one and then rushed off. 6 ANBU who stood behind used water dragons, and the 4 in front jumped away. Naruto quickly reacted and used the Song of Flame Dragons. Due to the collision of techniques, the entire clearing was covered in steam. Naruto decided to take advantage of this and turned on his eyes. While the ANBU were disoriented, he created clones and they quietly killed 10 of them. The clones divorced as did the couples. Naruto stood and looked at the ANBU. The ANBU looked around and saw not one corpse, but 11. He killed 10 people in just 15 seconds. Who is he? Were the ANBU's thoughts. Well, now let's get more serious. Naruto said and used Great Fire Destruction, which killed 3 more, leaving 10 ANBU. He decided to finish everything as quickly as possible. He used electromagnetic killing, but he put in less chakra and only immobilized the remaining ANBU. They could speak. Naruto decided to find out who the commander was. Who is your boss? Answer quickly. Naruto commanded. What do you need? Answered the ANBU in a dog mask. I don't have much. But first the name. Kakashi Hatake. Really? Legendary copy ninja. You're a strange man, Kakashi. You lost your father because of the Konoha. They neglected him. They hated just for one act. And you work for them. Do you even know that he didn't die on his own? He was killed because he knew some dirt on one of the elders. That's the whole point of a village called Konoha. What about your sensei? Do you think he's a saint? Naruto suddenly asked. Well, why isn't he a saint? Answered Kakashi's question with a question. Well, let's start from far away, but from the beginning. Naruto said and created elephants that tied up Kakashi and finished off the rest of the ANBU. In front of the bound Kakashi, Naruto sat down and continued the interrupted conversation. So, during the fox's attack on Konoha, he had 2 sons, he gave one to an orphanage, and he died due to the fact that he was a Jinchuriki. Why? The village's hatred. And his wife is Kushina. She was dying, and he did not help her at all. When I found out everything, I broke into the village and did everything I wanted. I took Kushina and learned a lot of new things. She is alright. I know that my sister always helped you. You will survive. And yes, if you want to get in touch, here is your call stamp. My call will come to her and you will convey the message through it. And tell Minato that I will take revenge for my nephew and sister. In an hour, the clone will untie you. Naruto left Hatake, leaving him in thought. The clone freed Hatake and then dissipated. Kakashi returned to Konoha and thought about the man's words. He is the brother of the woman who helped him when it was hard, in moments when he lost a friend in the war, killed his girlfriend and when his father died. He did not feel the lie in his words, but refused to believe in them. Kakashi hoped that everything this man said was just a lie, but at the same time he remembered one phrase that did not allow everything said to go down the drain: the truth always sounds idiotic. Konoha. Kakashi continued to think. He walked to his sensei, Minato Namikaze. He slowly walked towards Minato's house. He comes up and rings the doorbell. Minato, of course, opened the door and let Kakashi out. Oh, it's you, Kakashi, what happened? Did your squad catch up with this scum? Yes. We caught up with him, Kakashi answered slowly. And where is he? And most importantly, where is my wife? I don't know. Everyone from my squad died. He destroyed us in a matter of minutes. He killed most of them. And he immobilized the funny part. So. Stop. That is, he destroyed a squad of my best ANBU in one go. This is true. So he immobilized us and asked who was in charge. He threatened to kill everyone if they didn't tell who was in charge. I gave myself away. He tied everyone up and killed them. And he told me to tell you, I quote, I will take revenge mercilessly for my sister and nephew. He also told me that you gave your firstborn to an orphanage because he was a Jinchuriki, and then the child died. Yes, old sins make themselves felt. He's too strong. And if everything is as Kakashi says, then the village can be wiped off the face of the earth. But Kushina never had a brother. Although there was a stop, it was a cousin. He died in the Second Shinobi World War. Crap. If he survived, it could be very bad. Minato thought, and he only answered his student, I'll think about it, but as for the child, it's true. Only Kakashi. Nobody about it. Understood. I guess I'll go. Said Kakashi and evaporated. Moment, he saved himself, in the Shunshin. Dash. Already some information from this person is true, which means the rest is probably true. Crap. Kakashi had these thoughts. Naruto returned to the hotel covered in blood, which did not go unnoticed by the girls. Kushina was the first to notice this and immediately ran to Naruto and began asking questions. Kushina, Naruto, what happened? Why are you bleeding? Are you injured? Kushina rattled off questions, out of fear that her loved one might die. Naruto, no, I'm fine. I'm bleeding because I fought with a squad of ANBU. Yaruchi, and that's why you didn't take anyone with you? Okay, Kushina, she's out of shape right now, and Kurama, and me? Decided to play hero? Naruto, yes, it seems like I didn't play the hero. I didn't take it because I didn't want anything to happen to you. It's clear? Both, quite. Naruto turned around and headed towards the shower. Oddly enough, there was no one there. He took a shower while throwing his clothes in to wash. Coming out of the shower, he realized that the girls had fallen asleep because it was already almost 4 in the morning. Naruto, it took me a long time. Anyway. Since everyone is asleep, you can think about what to do next. Naruto's POV. So now we have literally no.a. Yes, I have a lot of ideas, but I need to decide. Grandfather is now in search of Uzumaki, which means he needs to restore Uzushio as soon as possible. Well, in general this is not a problem, a couple of 100 clones in a week of time. Everything further becomes more complicated. I will certainly have very powerful enemies, which means I need allies. All the great villages would be outraged at the loss of the Uzumaki. This means that allies there are cancelled for now, but we have Jinchuriki. So, one-tailed, Suna, son of the Kazekage. The 2 tails and the 8 tails are Kyumo, one is the brother of the Raikage, the second is most likely a nobody for the residents, which means they can be lured away. 3-tailed, Kiri, at large. 4-tailed and 5-tailed, Willow, both on the outskirts of the village and both despised in the village. 7 tails, Waterfall, perhaps the most affordable option. 6 tails, it is unclear where, presumably in the land of water. Well, so far 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7 tails are in development. So, although it is strong, it is not enough, they will stupidly crush you with meat. It will be necessary to train the Uzumaki found by grandfather. Although, he will do this. So now you need to think about what and in what sequence. 1. Uzushio. 2. 7-tailed. 3. Other tailed ones. 4. Not yet known. Normal plan. Tomorrow we need to move to Uzushio. End POV. The next morning. Naruto fell asleep on the couch. The girls, of course, woke up earlier. Kurama and Kushina were preparing breakfast, and Yaruchi was reading some book. Naruto woke up from the delicious aroma of food and, opening his eyes, he walked out of the living room into the kitchen and greeted the girls, then headed to the bathroom. Having finished his morning toilet, he returned to the kitchen. He was served rice with fried meat and black tea for breakfast. After breakfast, Naruto decided to inform the girls about the road to Uzushio. Naruto, girls, tomorrow we are moving to Uzushio in order to restore it before Ashino arrives along with the others. So put your things in scrolls and go. Everything is fine. The next day they set out for Uzushio. They walked slowly and nothing seemed to foretell trouble, but as if they were ordered from above, late in the evening a heavy downpour covered them, while they pitched tents and built a shelter. About 20 to 25 minutes passed and naturally everyone got wet. Naruto somehow didn't care about this, but the girl didn't. Yaruchi and Kurama changed clothes and disappeared into the tent. Kushina and Naruto remained in a separate tent. Kushina changed while Naruto left the tent. And Naruto just changed clothes under the canopy. They went to bed. Naruto couldn't sleep and he lay there and thought about something of his own. He was brought out of his thoughts by Kushina's quiet whisper. "Kushina, don't go, don't leave me alone. I beg you." To this, Naruto smiled softly and hugged her, causing her to start smiling in her sleep. Our company has reached the border of the Whirlpool country. Naruto understood that the village was hidden by a strong barrier and it was unlikely to find it just by chance. He knew where Uzushio was approximately and therefore walked in the right direction. A company of 4 people slowly moved deeper into the destroyed country. They walked at a leisurely pace for most of the day, they didn't need to rush. Towards the end of the day, at sunset, Naruto asked everyone to stop, and he walked a little further. Having walked forward about 50 meters, he stopped, bit his finger, and began to chant some kanji. After 5 minutes, he finished and the barrier first glowed bright white, and then for a moment green and suddenly went out. He motioned the girls to come to him and they walked on. Until they reached the village they had to walk another 7 kilometers. "Let's speed up. We need to walk a little more and we are in the village," said Naruto. "Okay," the girls answered. They sped up and within an hour they were at the gate leading inside the village. They entered the village, it looked majestic. The houses were built in the old Japanese style, the houses seemed very beautiful, but almost destroyed by time. They couldn't spend the night in houses, you never know. The company set up tents and lit a fire. While Naruto set up the tents, Kushina unsealed the food and began chopping, while Kurama and Yaruchi brought firewood and lit a fire. They had dinner and went to their tents. This is how their day went. 4:30 the next day. Naruto woke up before everyone else. He left the tent. He decided to inspect the village and understand how much work lay ahead. After 2 hours, he quickly examined the village and realized that about 10,000 Uzumaki lived here. There were approximately 2.5 thousand houses. There were only 10 completely suitable for life, and they would have lasted 10 years at best. There was too much work, but what to do? Soon the village will come to life and it will show who is the strongest here. Having created 3,000 clones, Naruto set to work, working all day from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., the guy was incredibly tired. After dispelling the clones, he staggered and fell to his knee. It was too much even for him. He somehow got to the first house that was built, took a shower and went to bed. About a month passed at this brutal pace. During this time, 70% of the village was restored, which was pleasing. Everything will be ready soon. Uzumaki fell asleep and woke up with this thought motivated him. Naturally, the girls were worried about him, they offered help with construction many times, but the guy refused, arguing that they were girls and should not strain themselves. Although if you think about it, they constantly helped him, alternately at night they transferred chakra to him. During this time, his chakra reserves progressed by a significant factor of 1.5. Although it didn't feel like training, by using almost all of his chakra every day, he forced the chakra hotspot to work faster and more efficiently. There have been some changes this month. Ashino finally wrote with news of the surviving Uzumaki. The old man wrote that in Kiri, there are about 1,000 survivors. They won't give up without a fight. In IWA, about 700 will be given back if the clan agrees. There is a clan on its own. In Kumo, there are about 2,000. Only with a fight. I'm in IWA now, I'll talk to the head of the clan here and most likely in a month you will meet me and 700 more Uzumaki. Ashino. This news made me happy. And since the letter arrived about 2 weeks ago, they will arrive any day now. Naruto couldn't wait for the day when the clan would be replenished. But he was worried that there were 2,000 Uzumaki in Kumo and they would not give them up without a fight. Hachibi and the Raikage didn't really want to fight with the Jinchuriki, but what can you do? A clan is a clan and if necessary, he is ready to die for it. It was a pleasant summer day, Naruto was sitting on the balcony of one of the houses, drinking tea and wondering when his grandfather would arrive with the rest of the clan. 6 days had already passed and they would arrive very soon, but he had a strange feeling. Something was confusing. The red-haired man didn't understand what was happening. The guy was thinking about something, when suddenly he was drawn to the Yuzukage residence. He did not control his body, his legs walked on their own. It felt like the guy was in a trance. About 10 minutes passed and he was at the entrance to the residence. He slowly climbed to the top floor and, entering Yuzukage's office, he saw something inexplicable, right before his eyes, as if a scroll had appeared out of thin air. He approached the table on which the scroll now lay. Taking the scroll, he unfolded it and began to read. Scroll. The story of Uzushio. Hello, descendant. If you read this scroll, it means he chose you himself. You are the most worthy during the entire existence of Uzushio. I am the first Uzumaki and, one might say, the founder of the clan. And now I will tell you the history of the clan and the village, as I see it in my visions. It was the beginning of a clan of 10 people. Everyone was humiliated for the color of their hair, and at one moment they were able to unite and sail to the islands of an unknown country. They lived together, no matter how funny and strange it sounded, but each had their own half, 5 men and 5 women. They loved each other and treated others as brothers and sisters and helped each other. Afterwards, they developed as a village, as a family. Each of our clans has a program that manifests itself, namely the study of Fuinjutsu. They were the first, so their program was stronger and had more gifts than knowledge. When the village grew to a population of 1,000 people, everyone started thinking about security, and Fuina barriers and blockers were used. They hid themselves from others, and at the same time there was a meeting at which they adopted the law of preserving blood, or, roughly speaking, the permission of incest. The village was developing and everyone understood that sooner or later they would have to reveal themselves, so not only fighting styles were invented, but also combat tactics. The time for studying techniques and elements also began. Everything went as usual. Let's go back in time. The clan knew that it would have to open up, because the time had come, which announced the approach of the First Shinobi War, the War of the Clans. But they were able to remain hidden, although they had to kill those who came to their lands. Then there was news that forced them to open up and declare themselves, namely the creation of villages. Literally immediately, ambassadors from other villages arrived, and the first were the ambassadors from Konohagakure. What a mistake it was to sign an agreement with them. Harem of the clan married the first Hokage by agreement. Hashirama Senju, well, he's not nearly as light as he seems. A rare bastard. Let's continue. The battle of the founders of Konoha, which led to the imprisonment of our clan's former Harem, the nine-tailed fox. The fox will remain in Konoha, but not forever. The development of the village has slowed down significantly. Later, an attack on the village took place. The first clan repulsed, but the second clan could not be dealt with after betrayal by Konoha. 3 Kage and their armies fought against just one clan numbering 9 to 9.5 thousand. Not a single Kage survived, they all died, like most of their armies. If there had been no betrayal, the clan would have survived. For a long time the village did not exist, and then a guy appeared who restored it, and so began a new history of the village of Whirlpool. If the scroll is torn off mid-sentence, it means that further history has not yet occurred or the current generation should not know it. Akira Uzumaki is the first Uzumaki. After reading it, Naruto was blown away. For the first time he learned the approximate history of Whirlpool Village. It was an unexpected truth for him that the first Hokage also did not have a clean reputation. Although now it became clear to him that the whole so-called will of fire was complete nonsense, which was never true and brought people to the grave and nothing more, those who died for it deliberately gave their lives into emptiness. For more than a day, Naruto pondered the scroll he had read. Although he succeeded, there remained a feeling that something else must be there, but what it is a completely different question. Now the guy knew something that most didn't know, but what did that give him? To put it bluntly, it's almost nothing except confirmation of Konoha's involvement in the destruction of Uzushio. He will take revenge, but later, much later, and now we need to think about how to win the unequal battle with Kyumo and Kiri. If it's easier to fight with Kiri on equal terms with a guy, if he uses everything he has, only the Mizukage Terumi can, then in Kyumo at least the strongest attacking couple in the world, namely the Reikage and his younger brother, the Jinchuriki of the Eight Tails, it is possible to defeat them separately, but together, this is a question and his answer is not in favor of the red-haired one. An attacking force is needed, the guy understood this, but where to get it from is not clear, although he thought about training the clan after they arrived here, but this was not enough and time was running out. He knew perfectly well that with the help of Kurama and Yoruichi he could win, but he didn't want to attract them there. Why? For he loves them and did not want to put them in danger. He needs allies, but who? Iwa is not an option, they have neutrality with Kyumo. Konoha is enemies, Kyumo and Kiri will not make a deal. The only option is small villages and Suna. There is no plan, there is no time, which means you need advice from the older generation. All we have to do is wait for Grandpa and believe that he will have thoughts on this matter. A week has passed since the whistle was read. All this time the guy was thinking about where to find allies. The clear answer was Waterfall Village and Grass Village. The waterfall is the Jinchuriki of the Seven Tails, the grass is Orochimaru, but if an agreement with the waterfall is not an issue, then with Orochimaru it is more difficult because the only lever of pressure on him is the Sharingan or more serious eyes. From this it turns out that a strong Uchiha with developed eyes is needed. The only candidates that are suitable are Fugaku Uchiha or Shisui Uchiha. The first head of the clan and a strong warrior, the second is known throughout the world for his bodily flicker. It's too complicated, there must be another solution, but there isn't one yet. These thoughts did not leave the guy all week, until he felt that they had passed through the barrier. He knew that it was his grandfather and the remnants of the clan. It would seem that 30 minutes and they will be in the village, but time is sometimes too nasty a thing. For the guy, these miserable half an hour seemed like an eternity. He waited, he saw his grandfather walking ahead of the entire clan, he also saw how the elders of the clan began to cry, because they saw how their village fell, but now a new chapter of their history will begin. The guy himself did not stand still. He walked towards them at a fast pace. As soon as he approached his grandfather, he immediately hugged him and, whispering in his ear that he needed to talk, pulled away. "Hello, I am Uzumaki Naruto and from today our clan will return to its former greatness that we were deprived of. Now my friend will show you where you can live." At that moment, Kurama appeared next to him under henge, so that people would not be afraid of the tails, otherwise something would happen. "Welcome back home," the red-haired guy said with a huge smile and eyes full of tears of happiness. While Kurama escorted the arrivals to their houses, Naruto and Ashina went to the residence where the conversation was to take place. At the residence. "Grandfather, we have huge problems. There are no allies, time is running out. There are chances against Kiri, because they did not recover after the civil war and revolution. But against Kyumo it turns out to be a complete failure. In theory, I can withstand one of the other two, but against two the chances are zero, and this does not take into account that there are tons of shinobi in this village, and we have no more than 300 combat units." "What's your opinion?" asked the younger Uzumaki at the end of the monologue. "Naruto, you think too clumsily. Allies are good, but you don't think that small villages will help against Kiri?" "I will answer for you, no, they care, and even more likely they will immediately complain. The great villages will not help, because you yourself know what attitude they have towards us. Were you hoping for Suna? They won't help, they have an alliance with Konoha. Here we only need help from mercenaries. According to my information there is only one organization that can help, Akatsuki, but their goal is far from money, their goal is the tailed ones. You mean, help from them will cost us losses in your strength and the deaths of the Jinchuriki of Kyumo. Ashina summed up. Difficult. But if they help, then showing Kurama's powers is prohibited. It's not a fact that I can get over myself. I can't put Kurama, Kushina, or Yaruchi in danger. Grandfather, what if you try to lure the Jinchuriki? Waterfall is a weak village and it's easy to pick up the 7 tails from there. After the fight with Kiri, you can pick up the 3 tails and try to look for the 6 tails Jinchuriki. In Kyumo, the 2-tailed one suffers as I suffered in my time. So, in the best scenarios, we will have 4 Jinchuriki besides me. Kurama will help negotiate with the tailed ones about the help of the Jinchuriki, and the advantage is already on our side. What do you think? Asked Naruto. The idea is not bad, but there can always be a mistake, and no matter how much you want Kurama and Yaruchi will send you on foot to the erotic with such conditions. They won't let you go into battle alone, that's how love is. Stated the old man. Let's see what happens. We have no more than 3 weeks to prepare for the attack on Kiri, so prepare the clan for battle, and I'll go to the waterfall with Kurama. If anything, take Kushina, like Yaruchi, to help with training. Agreed? Agreed. Naruto walked at a leisurely pace home where the girls were already waiting for him. Entering the house he saw a beautiful picture. Kushina was preparing dinner, Kurama was reading a book while sitting at the table, and Yaruchi, as he understood, was taking a bath. He quietly walked up to Kushina, hugged her from behind and buried his face in her silky red hair. Kushina shuddered slightly, but then she realized who was hugging her and, tilting her head back a little, she kissed her beloved. Kurama tried not to look at this idol because she wanted the same thing. After a kiss instead of a greeting, Naruto continued to hug Kushina after whispering something in her ear and walked in the direction of Kurama. Sitting quietly next to the girl, he accepted her and then lightly lifted her head from the book with his fingers and also kissed her. They communicated in no way, but that suited them. When Yaruchi finally appeared in the kitchen after the water procedures, and Kushina set the table, they had lunch and Naruto asked everyone to stay. Girls, I'm going to the waterfall. Kurama is coming with me. Kushina and Yaruchi, you stay to help Grandpa with his training. Okay, the girls answered. Naruto and Kurama spent the rest of the day preparing for the hike. 2 days had passed since the last events. Naruto and Kurama were a 5-minute walk from the waterfall village. Their journey passed quickly and without incidents. Having reached the village, they decided to first find an inn or hotel. Having found a small, unremarkable hotel, they rented a double room, put unnecessary things in it and went in search of the Jinchuriki. Kurama, scan the area and try to find the 7 tails. The group commander asked. Okay. The girl sat down in the lotus position on the grass outside the village and began scanning the area. After sitting for about 10 minutes, she found the location of her brother's Jinchuriki. Naru, it is located about 5 kilometers northwest of here. Let's hurry up, we'll find it faster, and we'll get back to Uzushio faster. Kurama said. Totally agree with you. By the way, can you establish mental contact with the 7 tails? Asked the red-haired one. I can, but it's better if I talk to him while you talk to the Jinchuriki. Okay. They headed towards the Jinchuriki at high speed. Kurama ran first as a guide, and Naruto ran a little behind. About 10 minutes later they were there. Before the meeting, they slowed down greatly and walked up to the girl with green hair. Hello, you're a Jinchuriki, aren't you? The red-haired man asked without thinking at all. The girl did not answer and immediately attacked using a strange technique that looked like a ray of light. Naruto and Kurama managed to jump away in different directions. Calm down, we won't harm you. I'm just like you. The guy shouted to the girl whose name he didn't know. Why should I believe you? Ask your roommate who is standing next to me, he will understand. The girl, without much trust, turned to her friend who was inside her. Hey, Chome. Who is the girl next to this guy? Fu, don't attack him, he is much stronger than you and probably even me. This is the first. Second, the girl next to him is my sister, the nine-tailed one. Said a beetle of gigantic size. Got it. Fu. Bijou said and broke off the connection with him. Let's say I believed it. My name is Fu. What do you need from me? The girl asked Naruto. My name is Naruto, and her name is Kurama. We want to invite you and the Seven Tails to move to Uzushio. The red-haired one said. Why do I need this? To become the weapon of your village? Nothing. Calm down, the benefit for you is this. First, protection from Jinchuriki hunters. The second point is that it will be better for you. In Uzushio, no one despises Jinchuriki. As for me, this is enough. Expressed the advantages of choosing to move to Uzushio. I'll think about it, I'll give the answer tomorrow here at 12 o'clock, Fu said and left. The next day. Time 11:55. Naruto and Kurama stood in the same place where they met Fu yesterday. Well, we'll soon find out what she decided. What do you think she decided? The red-haired man asked his friend. I don't know, most likely she will agree to come with us. Chome, I certainly agree. Kurama answered. Why are you sure that he agrees? While you were talking to her, I contacted my brother and explained everything to him. He agreed almost immediately. Now I understand why you were silent all the time. Time passed, but Fu was still not there. It was already 12:20 on the clock. Most likely she won't come, the guy stated. I don't think so, she's coming here so wait, the girl retorted. Okay. Fu arrived 20 minutes late. Without allowing Fu to say a word, she began to say. I agree to go with you, I've already packed my things. Let's go to. Great, let's not waste time. With this small company they headed to Uzushio. Our small company of 3 people calmly reached Uzushio. During the journey, Kurama spent most of her time talking to her brother, Chome. She was lucky that he, who received the least bijou of hatred from people, quickly agreed to help Fu. Upon arrival in the village, our trio decided to rest, or rather the girls wanted to, and Naruto went to the archives. Something pulled him there, he knew that it was not without reason. Arriving at the archive, Naruto discovered a strange door in the far corner. Approaching it, he opened it, there was a desk and on the sides there were shelves with scrolls. He first approached the table, there was a letter on it. He took it and began to read. Letter from an unknown person. Greetings, head of the clan. If you are reading this then the barrier has recognized you. Who am I? Doesn't matter. The barrier was created by me and it evaluates a person according to a list of parameters and decides to grant access or not. Forbidden and especially dangerous techniques of the Uzumaki clan are collected here, and time is also accelerated here. An hour here is a second outside the door. Study them. If the barrier let you in, then you deserve it. Goodbye. Unknown Uzumaki. Brilliant, why are there so many secrets in this village? Naruto asked himself a rhetorical question. Okay, there's only one option, take it apart, study it, and use it. More than 1 hour passed. Naruto sorted out the scrolls for himself. He identified 5 groups. 1. Attacking techniques. 2. Defensive techniques. 3. Sealing. 4. Barriers. 5. Special, these include summoning creatures and some individual techniques. Although he studied a lot, the main thing he learned was the chakra sealing technique. A useful, but irreversible technique. Time passed. Naruto was preparing for the first major battle. He understood that Kiri was not his opponent, a couple of his large-scale techniques and there was no village, it would be difficult only with the Mizukage. He understood that there was no time to waste, he could not give them time to recover. While he was sitting in the room, he was thinking. His plan was to hide the chakra and create a large-scale sabotage at night, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Firstly, remove a certain number of shinobi and so panic. He liked the plan, but how could he then take Uzumaki away? The answer was on the surface: Hiration. The scrolls he stole from Konoha contained this technique, but time was running out. He began digging through the scrolls, looking for a temporary barrier. This will save time. Having found the technique, he studied it in 2 hours. The day passed. Hiration was studied. Everything turned out to be simpler than it seemed. You just needed to derive your mark formula and fill it a little with your chakra for communication. Everything was ready for the execution of the plan. Without warning anyone, he left, hoping to return without losses. True, even if he returns intact, his legs will be torn off for such miscarriages. Now the guy was standing on the wall of Kirigakure. He created 4 clones and sent them to different key points. Kage Tower, warehouses, archives, ANBU headquarters, and the original went to the place where the Uzumaki were. 3 bloody mist swords were borrowed from the warehouses: Shibuki, Kiba, Kabutawari. From the archives, equipment and some documents. And of course, enhanced explosion seals are installed everywhere. The guy was able to get to Uzumaki, but he couldn't go quietly. He received a signal from 2 clones, and the other 2 were already near him and passed on the information and swords they had found. Having sealed everything, he scattered the clones and was ready to activate the seals, but before that he created clones and gave the command to create cover and divert attention after the explosion. There was an explosion. "It has begun, so help me Kami-sama," flashed through the guy's head. "It has begun, so help me Kami-sama," flashed through the guy's head. The first thing the guy did was teleport Uzumaki to Uzushio. He understood that he could leave, but rage and the desire to take revenge for the attack on his clan in the past forced him to return and do what their ancestors did to Uzushio. The guy left the clone and quickly moved to Kirigakure. His clone quickly told the situation and disappeared. Those Uzumaki he pulled out of Kiri headed to Uzushio. They had to walk no more than 300 meters to the entrance to the village. They were grateful to the guy for returning them to their homeland. The guy himself appeared from where he came from and took Uzumaki. Quickly taking out the wakizashi, he began to kill the shinobi of this village. They did not notice him. Not only was there sabotage in the village and the shinobi were extinguishing fires and clearing away rubble, which prevented the detection of the enemy, but Naruto himself, moving quickly, killed several shinobi at once. Time passed inexorably. The guy already had about 500 shinobi of various ranks, but mostly they were chunin. Naruto killed 3 more and jumped onto one of the roofs. So, the sabotage is successful, but we need to scan the village and understand how many shinobi are left. We also need to come up with something about the Mizukage, the guy quickly thought. Scanning the village, the guy discovered 912 shinobi by chakra level were genin, 733 shinobi by chakra level were chunin, 430 shinobi by chakra level were jonin, 3 shinobi by kage level. Where are the 3 kage from? Okay, stop. Mizukage, an unknown guy who has foreign chakra and... What? Jinchuriki? So his position is of most interest. He is outside the village 250 to 300 meters to the south-west. That's good, he's not running to help the village, which means he doesn't care about the village. Maybe he'll make contact with me. Stop thinking, you need to act. The guy expanded his thoughts and continued to kill Kirigakure shinobi. Naruto kills quietly and quickly. He wanted to cause as much damage as possible to this village and so that no one would interfere with his battle with the Mizukage. He was tired. He understood that he needed to get to the head of the village. And now he sees a group of shinobi of Jonin rank in chakra, but they were ANBU. He decided to kill them and finally engage in battle with the Kage. He quickly forms the seals of one of his favorite mass techniques, Smite of Thunder and Lightning. Clouds quickly gathered. Lightning strikes have already killed 7, another 8 managed to react and dodge the lightning. Naruto did not hesitate, because the 2 were close to him, and with lightning speed he pierced them with his wakizashi, soaked in wind chakra. 6, the guy thought. Immediately seeing 3 more, he hurried to use the divine flame pillar. The technique killed them, but at the same time gave away Naruto's position. The 2 remaining ANBU decided that they would not defeat him. They began to run for reinforcements. The red-haired man caught their movements, immediately understood where they were running, but why not chalk up another murder to his account? Having imbued his kunai with wind chakra and when throwing it gave it more speed, thanks to the lightning chakra, he hit one of the ANBU directly in the head. Well, what do you have to wait for the Kage? Naruto grinned. 5 minutes later. Naruto sat and waited, wondering what to do if his main strength was not enough. After all, these are Kages, and they don't just become like that. Who are you? Why did you attack my village? The Mizukage yelled at the unknown red-haired guy. I am just the ghost of Uzushio, whose hatred is directed towards those villages that attacked the village hidden in the whirlpool. Naruto said monotonously. I am the 5th Mizukage, Mei Terumi will not allow you to destroy what you fought for. Having uttered these words, she attacked the guy. Snatching closer, she wanted to strike her in the jaw, but Naruto, taking a step to the side, kicked her right in the ribs. Naruto would not have been himself if he had not imbued the blow with storm chakra, from which the girl flew away and felt her ribs were broken. She also realized that in close combat she would not be able to do anything and would only quickly die from a couple of such blows. Her internal organs had already suffered from the blow. Mei, having recovered from the blow, began to put together seals for the technique of her lava genome. Swamp of magma was heard from the Kage. A certain substance began to come out of her mouth. She flew straight at the red-haired man. He dodged and looked at the place where the substance hit. It began to eat away at the wall of the building. The lava genome. Seriously? I need to be careful, it will hit me and I'll have to switch to demon mode, otherwise I won't survive. A thought flashed through the guy's head. Naruto straightened up and began to make seals for the flame arrow. Although the girl jumped away from the arrow, but after hitting the ground, boom, the explosion hits Mei's leg. Now battered from the blow and the technique, the girl gets up and applies the Futon technique. Poisonous fog, she said. Well, really, the genome is a couple. She's not the Jinchuriki of the 5 tails. Who is she? We need to finish faster, although it's interesting what she can do, but life is more valuable. Flashed through the guy's head as he dodged and walked away from the fog. After the guy dodged, he decided to put on a show. Having created a storm clone, the original hid its chakra and began to wait for action from the Kage. The clone stood and bent over, imitating a cough. Mei, thinking that it is the original, attacks from behind using magma projectiles. The clone dodged while coughing and tried to get closer. At one point the clone fell to the ground not far from the Kage. The girl used magma projectiles to pin his arms and legs to the ground. She thought that the enemy was dead. As soon as she touched his neck to check his pulse, she was knocked out by lightning of enormous power. The original approached and sealed the still living Mei. Now there is only one enemy left, and his strength is unknown. No, well, he's on. No fair battles. If I hadn't had such a reaction, it would have killed me. Only cunning, there's too much risk in the forehead. The guy thought. Having scanned the area again, he found this guy, hiding his chakra. He headed with him. So, here he is. What's wrong with his eye? Byakugan? Possibly, but destroying it undesirably may come in handy. Naruto thought. Moving quietly, he decided to kill him instantly, but without leaving the blind spot of the Dojutsu. Quickly putting together the seals, the laser beam pierced the heart of the unknown. Still, cunning and stealth are much better, you need to take this into account in Kumo. Quickly moving to the guy, Naruto took and sealed the Byakugan and decided to leave for the Jinchuriki. Leaving a gift to this village in the form of explosive and smoke seals, he left. Naruto walked for about 20 minutes after his goal. Finally catching up with him, he spoke. "Greetings. I have a conversation with you, I came to you in peace," Naruto said, looking at the Jinchuriki. "Why do you need me?" asked the unknown person. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I'm the same as you," answered the young boy. "I mean the same?" the man asked the question again. "In a literal way, just like you, I carry a tailed beast within me, although they are far from animals," the red-haired one answered. "Well, Naruto, I'm Utakata. And yet, why do you need me? And judging by your blood, it was you who attacked the village," Utakata said. "Yes, it was me. He attacked to pick up clan members from there and avenge his homeland. And I need you as support and a fighter in the upcoming battles. In return, you will get a place where you will be valued and respected, and I will also help you with the tailed one inside you. How do you like the offer?" Naruto said. "Quite normal, except for the battles." "What are the battles for and against whom?" asked the man of the battle for Uzushio and the Uzumaki clan. His last questions. "Against Kumo and Konoha." "So do you agree?" Naruto answered. "I agree, I still have nowhere to go," Utakata answered. "Great, the only thing that's sad is that the three-tailed one either hasn't been reborn yet or it's already with Akatsuki." The last thing Naruto thought before moving to Uzushio. Naruto and Utakata stood at the entrance to Uzushio. They calmly moved inside the village towards the residence. It was already dawn. The red-haired man understood that if they found out, he would get a lot from the girls, although most likely they already knew. A little saddened by his fate, he and his new acquaintance approached the residence. Entering the office, Naruto saw Ashina, who smiled and invited them to sit down. The guy really didn't like this smile, it felt like a storm was coming. How right he was. Naruto told his grandfather everything and asked him to draw up documents for Utakata, as well as give him a place of residence. Ashina nodded, showing his agreement to his grandson's request. "Naruto, you go home. You know what will happen if you don't show up there now. And good luck to you," Ashina said, realizing that Naruto would not be happy. "Okay." The red-haired one answered and disappeared into the Hiration. The guy appeared at the entrance to the house and prayed to Kami-sama several times before entering. The guy came in, woke up and went into the kitchen. The girls probably haven't woken up yet. He began to prepare breakfast for them. Naruto prepared an omelette and made tea. Decided to take a desperate step, he went to wake up the girls. When he entered Kushina's room, he did not find her there. Strange, the guy thought, and went to Kurama. She was also not there. But now I don't understand, where are they? If something had happened to them, Ku would have let me know through the seal. Maybe they are in my room? I need to check. The guy thought and headed to his room. He turned out to be right. The girls lay in an embrace on his bed in their underwear. This picture was perfect. Two beauties lay in an embrace, tightly pressing each other to themselves. Beauty. He wanted to look at it forever, but he understood that he needed to wake them up. Quietly approaching the bed, he gently kissed Kurama and Kushina on the cheek. "Wake up, my loves," Naruto said tenderly. Literally a second later, having caught the voice of her beloved with her ears, Ku woke up, followed by Kushina. "Where have you been?" they said with obvious anger, although the two girls rather growled. "In Kirigakure," the guy answered calmly. "And you went there alone?" "Why didn't he warn us, we would have helped," they said with the same intensity. One went because it was sabotage, not war. I didn't warn you because I love you and don't want anything to happen to you. I'm afraid of losing you, I can't stand it. It's clear? Naruto answered the girl's questions. Naruto, we are worried about you, we are also afraid of losing you. Kushina said with tears coming out, and Kurama just nodded, although there were tears in her eyes too. Well, what are you talking about? Naruto said, wiping the girl's tears. I'm here, everything is fine with me and now I'm completely at your disposal. You said it yourself, Ku said with some kind of predatory smile, and Kushina only caught her friend's intentions and made the same smile. Let's remember my soul, flashed through the guy's head. Still, the guy, resigned to his fate, decided to send them to breakfast, and he himself went to wake up Yoruichi. Fortunately, she absolutely calmly accepted the information about where he was and what he was doing. After all, she already knew this, although she was worried about him. Now they were sitting having breakfast. The girl still forced Naruto to tell everything in detail about what happened in Kiri. The guy initially refused, but under the pressure of the girls he gave in and began to tell how it all happened. The story came to an end and now everyone had the thought, what to do with the Mizukage. Kurama offered to kill Kushina, to erase his memory, Yoruichi, to use as leverage and a kind of trump card. Naruto simply didn't know what to do. He understood that it was not advisable to leave her alive, but he didn't want to kill her either. Revenge on the village had been fulfilled. Uzumaki was in Uzushio, but no one needed her. He was leaning towards Kushina's option, but with reservations and amendments. He didn't know what to do with Mei and that's what he finally decided to do. During the day, the girls left to train the Uzumaki, leaving Naruto to rest. After the girls left, Naruto dozed off peacefully on the living room couch due to fatigue from the fight in Kirigakure. After sleeping for about 5 hours, he woke up and, after thinking, decided to cook dinner for his girls. The guy walked into the kitchen, looking at the food in the refrigerator. He decided to cook kari isa. The guy cooked slowly and did not notice how everything was prepared. Naruto left the dish on the stove and decided to wash the dishes and utensils he used while cooking. After washing the dishes, the guy decided to take a shower. After the shower he went out and decided to rest, but he felt the girls' chakra approaching the house. As soon as the girls arrived home, their sensitive noses caught a pleasant smell. Naruto had already come out to them. Hello, are you very tired? Naruto asked. Hello, very much, the girls answered. Got it, are you going to take a shower or eat first? The guy asked the question again. We'll probably eat first, the girls answered. 3 girls and Naruto walked into the kitchen. The guy fed the girls and they went to the second floor to take a shower. Naruto in turn washed the dishes and headed to his room. Naruto walked up to Kushina and kissed her. As you want? Naruto asked. Afterwards there was a loud lemon and a happy ending. This is where the story ends.